welcome to another City Commission meeting of the Boynton Beach City Commission. Today is May 7th, 2024. It's a Tuesday, and the time is now 6:27 p.m. We are starting a little bit later than normal because we had a special CRA meeting that preceded this event. As always, I want to remind everyone of our rules of our civility and decorum. Speakers, please wait to be addressed by me, the chair, and not interrupt by, any other speaker for that matter. Public comments must be addressed to the commission as a whole and not to an individual on the dais or in the audience. You are speaking to the commission. There are microphones. Disruptive behaviors, yelling, stamping of feet, insults, all of that are strictly prohibited. Should you violate these rules, I'll ask you to leave, and you will not be allowed to return to this meeting. All right, let's turn to our city clerk for the roll call. May Lee, please begin the roll call.
Mayor Penserga?
Here.
Vice Mayor Kelly?
Here.
Commissioner Cruz?
Here.
Commissioner Hay?
Here.
Commissioner Turkin?
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much, City Clerk. Our invocation for this evening will be led by Commissioner Woodrow Hay, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, led by Vice Mayor Kelly. Let's all stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Most gracious and Heavenly Father, as we come together for this City Commission meeting of Boynton Beach, we invite your sacred energy into this space. Grant us the wisdom to govern with compassion, the strength to lead with integrity, and the vision to pursue the highest good for all residents. We ask, Lord, that you guide our decisions, guide our discussions with clarity and understanding, that we may address the needs of our community with wisdom and empathy. May our deliberation be marked with cooperation, respect, and a shared commitment to serve the people of Boynton Beach with diligence and dedication. We ask, Lord, that you bless each member of this City Commission with discernment and compassion, empowering each of us to make decisions that will uplift and enrich the lives of all who live in our great city. May our efforts be guided by a spirit of unity, cooperation, working together toward a future of prosperity, harmony, and justice for all. For is it in your precious name, Jesus the Christ, that we do pray and ask it all. Let every heart say, amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Hay. Thank you, Vice Mayor Kelly. We're now moving on to agenda approval, additions, deletions, corrections. Let's begin on my right. Commissioner Cruz.
Yes, Mayor. Just wanted to bring attention to the National Day of Prayer proclamation that I was going to read. Lydia, who was here, she needed to go to another event at 7 o'clock, so I was able to present it to her a few minutes ago. So we will not be reading that today.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Any other requests? That was it?
No, that's all.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to add to future agenda items a conversation to include, well, dealing with sister cities as well, to look at possibly bringing in a sister city from Ireland. And so I wanted to add that to a future agenda item.
No, I appreciate that.
I think that I've had lots of conversations with the sister cities, our sister cities organization, and we really haven't added a lot of cities, and it really is a great organization, and I think that it's something that can benefit our city by bringing in these partnerships with these other cities. So.
And we do have a significant Irish population, and just on a personal note, I don't know if I told you guys, but I did visit Ireland, and I have family from there, so thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Thank you. Is any other request?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Board Commissioner Hay.
Yes, I would like to add for future discussions, additional marquees. We have the north end of Federal Highway, which needs to be informed on what's going on with some type of marquee. We also have the western area that needs it. I can think of at least 4 off the top of my head, so I would like to have that discussion on an additional minimum of 4. I see you want to chime in.
I just want to get clarity, Commissioner Hay. We're speaking about the digital marquee signs that we already have. I know we have one here at City Hall, one on 10th.
And this is in addition to
In
what
addition
we
to-
already have.
Okay, yeah. And what were the locations again, so I can, it
Well,
was,
right off the top of my head, it's north end of, up by the Anchor area on North Federal.
okay,
Out west, Commissioner Kelly could probably tell you better than I could.
the Fire Station 3, is that?
The budget, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And on the southern end, on Federal down by, I guess it would be, what is that down there? Walmart, somewhere down there, in that area?
yes, sir.
We could talk about it. Gulfstream Federal.
Do we, the 4th, I would think probably be the most logical location would probably be South Congress, maybe, in
Yes.
District 1?
Yes. Oh, amazing.
Okay,
We agree.
yep.
Thank you, Commissioner Hay. Was there anything else?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's it.
That was it? All right. So I'm glad you brought that up because once I go, you'll hear that I have a related item. So you're referring to the digital signs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Commissioner Turkin.
So the only things I got is just for if staff, and again, if I get consensus, if staff can do some type of presentation for a permitting workshop for seniors, because I've gotten a lot of feedback about the city charging too much for permit fees for little things such as a window, door replacement. And when I talk to staff, it seems that there's a disconnect in that the contractor, they're seeing the fees that the contractor is paying, and they're thinking it's the city. So I think it would be important, Boynton Beach having a lot of 55-plus communities, to, host a workshop, maybe go to the communities to make it more accessible for our seniors. Sterling Village, Leisureville, just to name a few, to have that workshop. So then that way our residents understand that, it's not necessarily us, the fees are the fees, that they're not getting spiked up from the contractor. And so, left hand's actually talking to the right hand. The other one is, I looked at the mangrove presentation with Andrew and Alana, and if we can have that presentation on the dais, I think it would be important. I know we're still waiting for the potential grant funding from Tallahassee.
That's accurate.
Say again?
That's accurate, correct.
Yeah, it hasn't been approved yet, from what I understand. And then, just to throw out there, it's been a very dry spring, and I'm getting concerns from people getting cited for their grass, which they can't necessarily control. You can have the best irrigation if you're not on it, it's going to die, and there's a sod shortage right now, so people who even want to fix the issue may not be able to have that opportunity to do that. So just want to, throw that out there. That has been a concern, in my district at least, and I could imagine that going citywide. So making sure that, we're being reasonable with our residents and the expectations.
What I'll do is I'll let Assistant City Manager Adam Temple actually give some brief talking points, just brevity. Or, I'm sorry, Andrew Mack, and that's Adam Temple. So
Your
go
signs
ahead.
are flipped.
Go ahead, Adam.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Adam Temple, Assistant City Manager. Yes, I've heard similar concerns recently as well, and in addition to, we do have irrigation restrictions depending on certain days of the week, and so we'll discuss with staff some options, and if there's some grant funding available to help with irrigation systems and those such, we will definitely be amenable.
Awesome, thank you.
All right.
That's it, just to have those, that's it. Nothing to add.
So
Thanks.
thank you so much, Commissioner. Permitting workshops for seniors, that's something that can be done administratively. It's something I support. So you guys can proceed with that. I do have one question about the mangrove presentation. I'm not familiar with, and I don't know which presentation. It could be the same one I'm thinking of, may not be. So I do want to speak to staff in advance, make sure it's the same thing. Could be a different topic. I don't want to consent to something I don't know what you're referring to.
That's the same, Mayor, yes. You're referring to the
The
mangrove.
living shoreline project.
Living
Yeah, the
shoreline.
living shoreline. Unless you're referring to a different mango
Let's discuss offline. This
Yeah.
is, let's figure out which
There-
one's which.
Yeah, there's a concept of what we could use the grant money. So we all decided this last year, right, when the budget, and then we applied for the grant. We're waiting on the grant. So there's a conceptual for that, and I think that should be seen by everybody. And so that's why I'm asking that to be proposed here and for the public.
Yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with this, but I'll speak with staff. All right. All right, thank you, everybody. As for myself, I have a series of requests, hopefully nothing too overwhelming. The first one is just an update on our Arts and Public Spaces program. I want to know where we stand with that, what's happening to the Kinetic Art event and the planning for that, what's happening to the mural, what's happening to all things related to that. So just an update on that program. Related to what Commissioner Hay said, I know you were referring to the digital signs, but I actually wanted to bring up and have a conversation with all of you about not the digital signs, yes, definitely that too, but our marquee entryway signs, right? Right now we have these aluminum, I don't even know what to call them.
Yeah.
But they gave me the impression that they're temporary and not to be final. So I do want to have a discussion so we can move forward with putting out designs or getting designs and making steps forward in that direction. Okay. So those are the entryway signs to our city. I also wanted to have a future discussion about Adopt a Road program. This is in relation to the beautification plan. Adopt a Road, I feel like this should be easy, low-hanging fruit that we can easily accomplish. Home of the Month program, where we celebrate homeowners. Are we doing that already? Not to my knowledge.
Yes.
We are? Okay, so that's fantastic. Because I thought I had seen a picture, but I think I've only seen it once. Discussion on possible improvements to a rapid rehousing program. I know this is something that RJ is leading, and we have a great program, but I think there are some things that we could do to improve the rapid rehousing program to help more people. And the last conversation I want to have, for now at least, is, we do have a tree planting organization that we work with, but we don't have that, formalized. And I want to make sure that it's part of beautification. It's part of so many things that in medians throughout the city that don't have any canopy coverage, I would love to see that. So, I'm going to call that the tree planting program. That may not be the right term, but for our medians, okay? So they were update on Arts and Public Spaces program. Where's our art program at and what's happening? Entryway signs into the city, Adopt a Road program, and possible improvements to the rapid rehousing program. I want to make sure that as we talk about the homelessness issue, that we help to prevent people from becoming homeless in the first place. All right, so, and of course, the tree planting. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on your last mention, your last future agenda item having to do with trees and canopies in the medians. In particular, Andrew and I have been working closely with Lawrence Road. It's something that came out of knocking on doors that,
Excellent.
it's a big issue. It's a county road, so we have to get county permission. We have to work with them. And so Andrew and I have been working in particular on Lawrence Road, and I was driving down Hypoluxo today and thought, how nice would it be if we had trees on Hypoluxo? So I'm glad that you're bringing it up. It's something that I know Andrew has worked with the county to try and get an agreement on what we can do in the medians, and so that should be an easy, doable thing. So.
I could not be more pleased to hear that it's already in the works. All right, with that, if there's anything, go
Mayor?
ahead. And
I
did
would-
you have something?
I
Okay.
just want to piggyback too on your idea of the Adopt the Street. We are doing some of that now. I'd like to give a little shout out to the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Andrew, I think, is in there. He's been working on getting the sign and getting it for MLK Boulevard. So
Love it.
I think we should go citywide with it, just
Right.
like you said.
And there's also another organization called Rally Boynton, and
Yes.
they've started to clean up and paint.
Right.
All community-led. I think we can support them in their works.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Cruz, you said you wanted to add something
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, sorry, I thought we were just going over like today's agenda versus like future agenda items. So I do have a couple of future agenda items I'd like to add. The first thing I'd like to add is to a future discussion is amendments to the Code of Ordinances regarding flooding in the city. And I also want to have a community meeting with the city manager about that, to have those discussions with the community before we bring it up to the commission. In addition to that, I would like to request to add to the budget this year, adding hazard pay for our code enforcement officers. I do hear that several of them have potentially been threatened, and we want to make sure that we don't have turnover and that we take care of our most vulnerable employees. So just having that conversation and looking in the budget to see if we could fit something like that in. I know that I think public safety has some sort of hazard pay, and see if we can do that. Or finding an alternative way to provide incentives for them to stay with us, whether it's like, more years of service and that sort of thing.
Absolutely, we can look into that.
All right.
I think the hazard pay is set by city ordinance, and for public safety, it's, I want to say, double pay. So we can look at possibly having the commission do the amendment to add code.
Yeah, I've heard similar concerns, and it is, the police department is coined as high risk, high liability. This is also high risk, high liability, because you're dealing with people, and so Commissioner Cruz, I commend you for bringing that up.
All right, thank you. Was there anything else? With that, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
I don't know who was first.
Second.
I don't know who was first there. Somebody, all right, let's just go. Commissioner Turkin is the motion, and the second from Vice Mayor Kelly. All those in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. Agenda has been approved as amended. We're going to turn now to Section 2, informational items from members of the City Commission. Let's begin with Commissioner Turkin on my left.
I did attend the Unity Project event. Pretty good turnout. I just want to thank staff for putting that on. I know that was a long, detailed process, so thank you so much for doing that. I want to give a shout out to the firefighters and the IAFF for the firefighter fishing tournament. That was a great success. And a special shout out to Selena Trevino for first place in the mystery fish tuna, and third place for Lady Angler. She was on our team. And so it was a super awesome event. And, and staff, thank you for all the town halls. I did attend the District 2 town hall, I think it was a week or two ago. And then we had one in District 3 specific to Chapel Hill. And Commissioner Hay, I just want to really thank you for showing up. You didn't have to do that. It wasn't that well attended. And you sat through the whole thing. It was monotonous, a lot of information. And again, you showed up. That meant a lot to me. So I just want to thank you publicly for reaching out and staying through the whole thing. So thank you.
Very soon, District 1.
All right, thank you. Next, Board Member Hay.
No, I was honored to be in that meeting. There was a lot of information shared in your meeting, as well as the meeting, town hall meeting we had in District 2. I estimated over 100 people showed up at that particular meeting, and I want to thank the city for each department making a presentation to inform the citizens on what's going on and answer all the questions that was presented and asked. A lot of good information came out of that, so thank you. Also, I attended the First Friday bash that was done this past Friday. In spite of the little dripping of rain, the crowd stayed and they just sort of danced the night away. I couldn't quite get on beat with some of the music, but it was good. And the chili contest was very interesting. I happen to be one of the judges along with my colleagues here. And congratulations to the winner. What was the name?
It was home team, local,
Yeah.
IFF.
Yeah, IFF. They took first place. And some of them, they need to go back to the drawing board and learn how to cook chili, but that's another story. But we had a lot of fun, and it was great. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback on Commissioner Turkin with regard to the Unity Project, and just to thank staff for that entire project, and in particular Catherine Matos, who really spearheaded that whole project, and rallying the residents and getting everyone on board, and to do all of the different events that we did over the last couple months. So just thank you.
Commissioner Cruz?
Same. Wanted to give a shout out to all of our firefighters for the fishing tournament as well as the chili cook-off. I've never had better chili or more chili in one day. So it's just really impressive how you guys really put that together every year with such commitment. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. We're going to move on to announcements, community, and special events and presentations. The very first item, I know Commissioner Cruz, you said the person was not here today for the proclamation, so
He had to leave to another event, so
no
we're
worries,
not-
we'll do that another day. The next proclamation, I've asked Commissioner Hay to read the item and to present the proclamation into the record. The proclamation will be accepted by Marie-Michelle Sylvie Rameau. I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I apologize. The ex-mayor of Lacaille, which is a sister city of Boynton Beach, and Jane Marcel, Haitian Community Facilitator and Board Member of the Sister Cities of Boynton Beach. Commissioner Hay, could you read the item into the record, and after which they can come up to the podium?
Yes. City of Boynton Beach proclamation. Whereas the growth and prosperity of the city of Boynton Beach is due in part to an ethnic diversity that includes a substantial and rapidly increasing Haitian population. And whereas we recognize the valuable contributions of the Haitian people in the fight for the independence of the United States of America, especially in the Battle of Savannah, contributions of the Haitian people in the abolishment of slavery, and pay dues tribute to their endowment. And whereas the Haitian population in South Florida joins together during the month of May to commemorate their Flag Day and celebrate their historical and cultural indemnity, and I apologize for mispronouncing the name if I do, whereas Haitian President Dura Merci time started the Flag Day celebration with parades, cultural, and athletic events in many cities in Haiti in the 1930s. When he was Minister of Education under President Stenio Vince, Esteem wanted to commemorate annually the creation of the Haitian flag to encourage the development of patriotic sentiment among Haitian youth. And whereas it is appropriate to promote awareness and understanding of cultural diversity in our society in order to strengthen our self-esteem of our multicultural community. Now, therefore, I, Woodrow Hay, City Commissioner, and Ty Penserga, Mayor of the City of Boynton Beach, do hereby proclaim 18th day of May 2024 as Haitian Flag Day and the month of May as Haitian Heritage Month. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, to affix at City of Boynton Beach, Florida, the 7th day of May, 2024. Come down, let's give a hand. I got the big shoe on.
Dear Mayor Ty Pensoga, dear Commissioners, Mrs. Jane, Board Member of Sister Cities of Boynton Beach, ladies and gentlemen.
Madam Mayor, could I ask you to move to the microphone a little bit closer?
I'm truly honored to receive this proclamation declaring May 18 as Asian Flag Day in the city of the Boynton Beach. Your recognition of the Asian community's contribution and culture is a testament to the city's commitment to diversity and inclusivity. I'm grateful for your support and leadership in promoting unity and celebrating the differences. This proclamation serves as a reminder of the rich heritage and resilience of the Asian people, and I'm proud to be a part of this community. Thank you again to all of you. I look forward to continuing to work together to make Boynton Beach a vibrant and welcoming city for all. God bless America, and God bless Haiti.
Thank you. I'm going to ask our events coordinator if you could please come up to the mic. We do have an event related to this, and I want to make sure that the public is aware so we can all partake.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Gabrielle Favita, Events Director. I would like to invite everyone to join us for a Haitian Flag Day raising ceremony and cultural celebration scheduled for Saturday, May 18th. That will include guest speakers and complimentary refreshments starting at 9 a.m. It's right outside of City Hall. It'll be followed by a fun-filled art experience at the Boynton Beach Arts and Cultural Center, featuring youth and family activities, including poetry, a drum and dance class, face painting, mobile health screenings, free Haitian cuisine samplings, and live entertainment, and that will take place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Will there be griot? Griot, will there be griot?
Oh, it's actually delicious, but
Okay. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. We're going to move on to the next item. It's an announcement regarding pre-hurricane prep and vegetation amnesty week. The hurricane season begins June 1st, and the Solid Waste Division is urging residents to do their part by conducting tree trimming early in preparation for the hurricane season. Folks, please don't do it the day of. It is only causing more debris that can fly around. Please do it in advance. The city is currently having a Hurricane Vegetation Amnesty Week that begins May 6th through May 10th, 2024. Residents may place more than 3 cubic yards of vegetation only out for pickup on their scheduled bulk day during that week. Fees will be waived during Amnesty Week only. All guidelines must be followed for pickup, and more information can be found on the city's website. Moving on to item 3C, this is a presentation from the Director of Palm Beach County Community Services Department. Here with us this evening is Dr. James Green. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to your presentation. And this is pertaining to the topic of homelessness and what resources are available. And thank you, Commissioner Hay, for requesting this.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor,
Ray.
Vice Mayor, Commissioners. On behalf of the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners and our County Administrator, Ms. Virginia Baker, I want to thank you for inviting us to come out this evening to share important information about what's happening in the world of homelessness and housing and with the Community Services Department. For those of you who are not familiar with community services, we are one of about 20 departments within county government. We serve all 39, we work with all 39 municipalities throughout the county, but with a focus on our unincorporated areas. And we have really 4 major divisions within the department. And so I'll spend some time to go through this throughout the presentation, but we have the Finance Division, we have Human Services and Community Action, which oversees all of our housing and homelessness, our workforce development, economic mobility initiatives. We also have the Division of Senior and Veteran Services, and we have our Behavioral Health and HIV Services Division. Behavioral health is pretty broad. It's one of the board's strategic priorities. It focuses not just on mental health, but also on substance use disorders and then HIV services as well. And so just giving you a broad overview, this department, we work to fund about 123 different nonprofits and programs in a number of spaces. We also serve as the administrator or the facilitator for our Health and Human Services safety net. And so if you think about housing and homelessness, if you think about employment, transportation, food, and hunger, if you think about health and wellness, education, safety and justice, and child care, all of those different services are interdependent. Families depend on those services in order to move up and to become self-sufficient and contributors to our community and economy. But we have lead organizations within each of those domains that continues to assess the needs of our community and make sure that there's availability, accountability, that we are coordinating effectively, that we are ensuring that there's quality of services provided to our residents, and to make sure that our most vulnerable residents throughout the county are not falling through the cracks. And so the Community Services Department meets with those institutional leaders monthly, and we assess gaps. And for housing and homelessness, employment and economic mobility, and behavioral health and SUD, we allocate funding, ad valorem dollars, to fill the gaps that are identified within our Health and Human Services system of care. And so with our senior and veteran services, I'm going to move relatively fast throughout this presentation because I know that you'll learn more when you ask questions, and I want to get to that. But we go into our seniors' home. About a third of our residents throughout the county are seniors, and it's so important that we are looking out for them and protecting them. And so we can go into the homes and make sure that they have their needs met. But we also operate 3 senior centers where they can go and interact with others and get meals. We also operate about 14 different meal sites where seniors can go and interact and socialize. And as you know, the U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness a public health crisis. And during the pandemic, we know that it got much worse. And so having these sites available for our seniors to get out, interact, is extremely important, and they're a very active group of individuals. For our behavioral health and HIV support services, one of the things that is important for you to know is that we have moving to the advisory committee, it's a behavioral health and SUD advisory committee, a master plan. So we're working with the healthcare district, Southeast Florida Behavioral Health Network, and many other funders in mental health and addiction to develop this master plan so that everyone is working from the same script and we'll be able to ensure that our system of care is operating at maximum capacity. And when it comes to opiate settlement dollars, I know that your city has been the recipient of those dollars, and we want to continue to work with you, along with other municipalities, to ensure that we can address the opioid epidemic and other addiction disorders throughout the county. For our Human Services and Community Action Division, this is where we focus on homelessness. And so this division is the backbone organization for the county when it comes to HUD dollars going directly to the agencies. We're the ones that monitor those agencies, but we also provide funding directly to those agencies as well. And so we oversee the homeless management information system. We can tell you who's coming into homelessness, who's moving into our shelters, exiting our shelters. We can tell you who's moving into our permanent housing, whether it's rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing, or if they're just getting first and last month's rent, how long they're staying out of our homeless system. All of the data is fed into this system. We have probably over 100 different organizations who are part of what's called the Homeless and Housing Alliance that's providing housing services, homeless services here in this county. And we'll get a little bit more into that towards the end when we talk about the shelters that we've operated in some of the affordable housing developments that we are bringing on board. This is a look at the Housing Resource Center that's located in Lake Worth Beach area. It's a 74-bed facility. 60 of those beds are regular shelter beds. 14 are for law enforcement drop-offs. So we do work with law enforcement to make sure that they have access to those beds. And as you continue to look at the legislation that was recently passed by the state in looking at solutions, we want to make sure that we are working alongside you to figure out the best solution for those individuals. Those transitional beds, we only have 14 at the Housing Resource Center in Lake Worth. We have 6 located in West Palm Beach at the Lewis Center. We're going to need to expand our shelter bed capacity, continue to work with hotels, continue to do other things to make sure that we can address this impending legislation. We're also looking at grants passed, which is what the Supreme Court will rule as it relates to the legislation that was passed. And it will certainly have implications on whether or not that legislation can be upheld. And so I just want to make sure that you know that we're aware of that, and that as a Housing and Homeless and Housing Alliance, that we're looking at that. And our county mayor will be convening with other mayors throughout the county to talk about this issue. She's convening the nonprofit community to talk about this issue, and so that we can come to a resolution on how we will move forward. We're also building 17 cottage homes for our families. So now, as you know, homelessness increased throughout Palm Beach County, about close to 15%. We have counted within our shelters and under bridges and in cars and in parks about 2,126 homeless individuals. And the good part about that is homelessness for our veterans and for our families has decreased. But the homeless population for especially chronic homeless individuals, if they're homeless for more than 4 or more times throughout the past couple of years, it increased pretty dramatically. And to give you some perspective about that, it costs us about $35,000 to $40,000 per individual per year for to leave a chronically homeless individual on the streets, because they're constantly interfacing with our criminal justice system. They're interfacing with our health, our emergency rooms, and other systems, and it's very costly. And so that is why the Housing and Urban Development says that we have to have a housing first model, a model that prioritizes chronically homeless individuals so that we can get the best return on investment and make sure that we're doing what we can for those with the most needs. Just to let you know about our cottage homes, our families who are homeless will be able to move into those homes for up to 2 years while they stabilize, and we hope then they can transition either to home ownership through some down payment assistance program or into a permanent apartment where they'll be able to sustain themselves moving forward. This is the Lewis Center that I mentioned earlier. We opened this in 2012, 60 beds and 6 shelter beds located there, are transition beds. And we also opened up a 42-bed facility out in the Pahokee area and a 6-bed intake facility in the Belle Glade area. We used some of our opera funding to create this non-congregate sheltering opportunity and then transition it into a shelter once the emergency was undeclared. And so this just gives you a look at what our trend line for homelessness looks like. We had made some progress just during the pandemic. We saw those numbers fall, but it has increased pretty dramatically over the past couple of years, and we're doing everything we can to prevent homelessness from happening. We've pushed out about $200 million in rental assistance and support services for individuals who are unsheltered for individuals who were being evicted, from the courts over the past couple of years. And we want to do other things to prevent homelessness from happening. We're continuing to work with Legal Aid Society and Florida Rural Legal Services and the courts to prevent people from being evicted. Evictions have surpassed the pre-pandemic level, and there's still a whole lot to do. But we're preventing homelessness, we're expanding shelter capacity and temporary housing capacity and permanent housing capacity. We're also expanding support services. Doesn't make sense that a homeless individual from Boynton has to go all the way to West Palm Beach or to Delray to get a shower or to get clean clothes or a haircut. And so we're looking to work with our faith-based community and our business community to expand support services for individuals who are homeless. And we're also looking to increase advocacy. You know that it's very difficult to build affordable housing just about anywhere because NIMBY is alive and well. And so it's really important that we educate individuals about the importance of affordable housing and giving opportunities for individuals to move out of our shelters into affordable housing, but also that we look at policies and legislation like Sadowski Trust Fund, which was being swept for a number of years, and we advocated along with you. Now those funds are prevented from being swept by 50%, and that goes towards our ship and sell to help gap funding and other things to get affordable housing online. But another policy that was really important is the housing bond. And the housing bond also can be used as gap funding to build more affordable housing and to address the issue of homelessness more permanently through permanent housing. This just gives a look at homelessness by zip code. I won't go through these because I want to wrap this presentation up, but RJ has this presentation and will probably expound on this a little bit more. But our more concentrated areas are in the West Palm Beach area, also in the Riviera Beach. A little bit in Riviera Beach. Lake Worth, it's a very high concentration of homelessness there in the Delray and then out in the Glades. And so you can see the heat map where the deep red represents areas with higher concentrations of homelessness. And this just looks at some of the investments specifically in the Boynton Beach area that we've made with our rental assistance programs and with some of the other services that we provide. And that is there for you to see that we are concentrating some efforts and focusing our efforts in the Boynton Beach zip codes. And then this gives you a demographic breakout of who's receiving the services, what the area median income is for those who've received our services, and the federal poverty level, which are two measures that we look at. And it also provides you some information about the number of households that we have assisted throughout those programs. More demographic information here, just looking at again, some of the income levels and the households that we're serving, and the top services that are requested through many of the programs that we provide. And this is just a list of our sites, our satellite sites that individuals can, where they can access the services that are provided by the department. And for those individuals who are looking to help a person who is unsheltered or homeless access our shelters, they can go to or call 833-HHA-WILL. That's for Homeless and Housing Alliance WILL. Or they can call, if they need rental assistance, 833-CSD-WILL. That's for Community Services Department WILL, WILL. And they can be triaged and screened for assistance. There's also a site, rentalassistancepbc.com, where those services are accessed. And we can send out our homeless outreach teams to those areas by calling the HHA WILL number. So I'm going to pause here to see if there are any questions that you may have about the information that I presented or about other information related to housing and homelessness and what the department offers.
Dr. Green, thank you so much for your presentation. As I was listening, I was going through my mind, maybe we should have had a workshop instead. There's so much to unpack here, and I feel like this conversation could last for a very long time. And now, before we open up to questions to my colleagues, I'm putting you on the spot. Feel free to say no. I know that you've already been here for a while, but we do have another presentation that's related to this on the next agenda item. The city's putting together some ideas. I'd love for you to hear it and give some feedback, and so we can have that as part of our discussion.
Sure.
All right, I appreciate that. Let me just start the conversation by saying the services that you're offering, and might be obvious to you, but I want to make sure the public knows it. The services that you're offering, does that stop at the end of the county limit and the beginning of the city lines, or does it continue regardless of jurisdiction?
It stops at the county lines, but we do work with municipalities. And so although, the county, looks at unincorporated area as, where we're represented, these dollars and the services that we provide, many of them, most of them are within municipality jurisdiction. So that is important to note.
All right, thank you. Let's begin on my right, Commissioner Cruz. Let's go around the dais.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I don't currently have any questions. More of a comment as to, we're getting unfunded mandates, right, from Tallahassee to have to house, and I know that our city attorney is looking into it and doing research on it, but it's something that is concerning because we're already tight in our budget to where, it's something that we have to think about. And I think the last thing that I heard was that it was only for counties that it had to be done. So it's
Only for counties that what had to be done? I'm sorry. to interrupt.
to actually, we're not, do you want to get into the detail of it?
She's referring to the new legislation regarding designating areas and sites with clean services and security for homeless populations, but it's under the county chapter, so it doesn't apply to municipalities.
Okay, so that's not my understanding of the legislation, but it does have to be certified through the county. So if municipalities did designate an encampment area, which our board has not taken a position on, although there is sentiment, and the mayor has said that that's not the direction that we want to go. It's my understanding that those municipalities would then need to work through the county in order to designate those areas, and DCF and other entities.
Gotcha, interesting. So, yeah,
We are permitted to designate certain areas if we would like to, but the mandate to designate is through the county.
That is correct, yes.
So we'll have to work together.
If we're going to designate.
Yeah. So anyhow, thank you for your presentation, and that's something that's very top of mind, I think, for the entirety of the board. I know Commissioner Hay, you're the one that brought this up. But it's challenging. I mean, it's where we need a lot of funding to be able to carry this program over. We understand that there are more people becoming homeless every day, unfortunately, because of the cost of living, and wages are staying stagnant. So, and obviously our economy is challenging as well. So we'll have to continue to work together to continue to find solutions and get our leadership to maybe brainstorm. And as the mayor said, maybe we could even have a workshop in the future to further talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Green, for coming out today. City Manager, we have a Palm Beach County Community Services representative from the county who is on site here at the city still, correct? That's still
5 days a
something-
week, yes.
Right.
Vice
So I
Mayor.
just, and thank you for your presentation, because it's very helpful, I think, for everyone to see it. But I also wanted to make a point to let residents know that a county representative is here at City Hall on site 5 days a week to help and assist, not just with these programs, but in particular with these programs, but other programs that the county has. And that's one thing that the county can provide that we as a municipality can't, are some of these core community services. And so, I think it's important. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad that, this was brought up to us so that we could have this presentation, because I just think that our residents don't know what is available out there. I admit that sometimes I don't know what is available, but I know that I can make a phone call and get them, on the right track and in the right direction. So I just wanted to make that clear, that although there are services in other areas, we also have on site 5 days a week a county representative who can assist, with this for our residents, to make it convenient for them so that they're not having to leave our city in order to get help. So I just wanted to make that point for the residents. One question that I did have is, what is the county doing, or what is the partnership that the county has with the school district with regard to our homeless children and homeless families? I know you briefly touched on the homeless family program, where there's the the rehoming or rehousing program that you have, but what does the county do to bridge that? And I know I'm sure you run into confidentiality issues, but I know we each, as a parent, fill out a form every year as to what our needs are individually. So if you could just briefly touch on that, because your presentation was great, but I just want to kind of hone in on some of those services that are family and child-based.
Well, thank you, Vice Mayor. And it is important to note that, whereas a lot of municipalities and the county experienced a lot of resources during COVID, those resources have depleted, and the demand is still there. And so they are limited, and so access to those services is not as plentiful as it was prior to. But in terms of our work with the school district, HUD considers homelessness individuals who are sleeping on the street, sleeping in cars. If they're sleeping in hotels and we're paying for it, they're homeless. Any place that's considered uninhabitable. And so we do know that there are still a couple of hundred of those that have been identified through the school district who meets that definition. But the McKinney-Vento includes individuals who are couch surfing, they're sleeping with a friend or a family member, and there have been about almost 5,000 students who are considered homeless by the school district's definition. We include them in the prevention number. So when I talked about preventing evictions or rental assistance or electric bill assistance or utility bill assistance, we're including those individuals in that number. And we do have a partnership with the district where when a parent completes that form and they indicate that they're homeless, the district has access to our homeless management information system. They're a part of our homeless advisory board. They're part of the Homeless and Housing Alliance. And so they're able to check to see if they're already receiving services and where they are, and if they're not, to link them to services. And so that process is currently in place.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You took some of the same thoughts I had, so thank you for that. From the children in our schools to the McKinney-Vento program, the last I heard, within the city limits alone, there were nearly 300 that had been identified. So I will continue to speak with you on that offline because that's a big challenge. Just keep in mind, there is a distinction between, being literally on the street and being housing insecure.
Right.
It's still a problem, and one leads to the other. But depending on what kind of metrics we put in place, we're seeing a different population, and we can't forget that population either. Okay. As for myself, I just want to make a brief comment. I know you have a county rapid rehousing program. We have one in the city. I want to make sure that whatever programs you guys have, that we're coordinating with you to maximize the effect, right? Whatever it is that we may not be able to do, whatever our shortcomings may be, perhaps that's an opportunity for partnership to help the individual in need. I'll leave it at that, so we'll keep chatting later. Board member, Commissioner Hay.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Green, for your presentation. I brought this whole idea of homelessness up because it's a hot item with me. Is this the county's solution to I believe it's HB 135, where the county has to provide spaces and shelters or whatever that states? Is this an attempt to resolve that? And
The discussions that we've had with various groups and the convenings that our county mayor will have with the city mayors and nonprofits and all of those things are an effort to come up with a strategic plan and a strategic way to address this particular issue. And of course, I mentioned grants passed, the U.S. Supreme Court will be taking this issue up. We're expecting a ruling on that issue probably at some point late June, and that will have implications on how we move forward with this issue as well. And so we don't have the solutions just yet. We are working with our partners to come up with the solutions, and hopefully we'll have a better solution in a couple of months to come.
okay, I'll talk with you offline more specifically about that. The last thing I want to just bring up right now, and we'll talk more one-on-one. I've dealt with many of the homeless in our city, and it's a challenge sometimes to get them to accept help, to accept going to shelters for whatever reason. Do you find that a challenge? Do you deal with that at all from the mental standpoint, direction?
Absolutely. The shelters are low barrier shelters, and so we have a model where we'll get them in and kind of start dealing with their addiction, mental health issues, and housing instability issues once they're there. But there are rules that you have to follow, and so some individuals don't want to follow those rules. They have freedom, and they choose not to move into our shelters. But we're not limited to serving individuals through our shelters. We can house individuals directly from the streets. We need a place for them to go. And so if there are property owners out there who are willing to work with the county to help move individuals from our shelters or from the streets, just know that we will provide those wraparound support services when they are in that property. And so we don't just put them there and go away. We're there to help continue to navigate them to support services, help them get employment if they're not already employed, get substance use disorder treatment services. We're providing those wraparound supports while they're there and also subsidizing the rent that they need to pay. And so we have 3 programs that serve individuals. And I think RJ may be touching on some of those during his presentation. But it's really important to know that they don't have to go into shelters in order for us to serve them. We can house them directly from the streets.
Thank you, Dr. Green.
Commissioner Turkin?
Dr. Green, thank you for your presentation. Pardon me. I look forward to working with you. I was recently appointed to the county's Veteran Services Advisory Board, and I know that's a smaller scope from what you're presenting here, but they canceled our meeting this month, so I haven't been out there yet. But look forward to working with you, and you know, my colleagues hit it on the head, so we'll continue this partnership and collaboration between the city and the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And if you can stay,
Sure, I'll hang around.
if not, not in the world, but thank you so much. All right, we'll have the next presentation. It is on a similar topic regarding existing regional programs and best practices to combat homelessness in the city. And we have before us Mr. R.J. Ramirez. Thank you so much.
All right. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, R.J. Ramirez, I'm the Community Improvement Manager. And I want to say thank you to Dr. Green once again, because it is important, the information he just shared with you, because the city, as well as other local government, depend on the county for resources. Reason being is because the city of Boynton Beach, speaking specifically, doesn't get any resources other than the CHIP program for homeless. And that's a very important point. So let me go ahead and start the presentation. I have some basic information there, which Dr. Green already talked about it, about the facts of who is classified as a homeless individual. And also the fact that what are the risks of it. And one of them is obviously the lack of affordable housing. The growing gap between the cost of housing and income. So that is one of the major issues there. Then we have some other ones as the health problems, substance abuse, and domestic violence, which seems to be an increment here in the city, unfortunately. So the homeless reason they depends on each homeless case. They all have different causes for their homelessness. And once again, as Dr. Green touched already, living in the car, classify individuals as being homeless in any place that is no design for a human to live in. So talking about the homeless population in Boynton Beach, I got the 23, and just this morning I got the 2024 point in time count. So according to this point in time, we have 63 homeless in Boynton Beach. Why this number is important, and I want to talk a little bit more about that. So the zip code here, 33426, supposedly we have only 9 homeless. 33435, supposedly we only have 41. 33436, 6. 33437, 2. 33472, 5. So on 2024, if you want to get the latest data here, so it increments from 63 to 68. And they move around a little bit. So the zip code 33426 went from 9 to 8. 33435 went from 41 to 55. 33436 went from 6 to 1. 33437 went from 2 to 0. And 33472 from 5 to 4. So according to the point in time in 2024, we got 68 homeless in Boynton Beach. So the existing regional programs, once again, like I mentioned before, is in the county mostly. We have some local government programs, such as Delray, that they have the Delray Homeless Initiative, and some other ones on the other local government, but everything really is in the county. Everything is in the county. So all, as Dr. Ngin already explained as well, and went in detail in each of them, so we depend on the county. And that is pretty much the bottom line on all of this. So, so Dr. Green already touched about the different programs that they have through the social services. And who went over this, so I'm not going to talk too much about this. And talk a little bit about the Homeless Resource Center. So the city of Boynton Beach has an interlocal agreement with the county. So, so whenever law enforcement encounter those homeless individuals that set a referral, so they can be transferred to the Homeless Resource Center, so they can go to the process to be able to be assisted. So other than that, also the county has this wonderful resource guide where step by step homeless individuals in the community can utilize to be able to get access to county services. So in the city of Boynton Beach, and now we're talking about resources, what we have here. Once again, like I mentioned before and in previous meeting as well, the city of Boynton Beach, the only funds that it gets that can be utilized for homeless is the CHIP program. And that is also very limited. That is what I have now, the rapid rehousing program. Talking about that rapid rehousing program, how far it can go. So the CHIP program, as I mentioned before in the previous meeting, is split in categories. So which means that at the annual allocation, for instance, let's say that we got this last year, we got about $937,000. Only 50% of that allocation can be utilized either for purchase assistance to assist homeowners getting into homes, or can be utilized to assist homeless individuals. So in this coming year, 2024, that amount was reduced by $300,000. So now we're gonna get $622,000, which means that 15% can be used toward either assisting someone purchasing a home, or used to someone through the rapid rehousing program to assist to getting into an apartment. So other than that, we have the community development block grant that doesn't allow to assist homeless individuals, even though in their regulation says for assisting homeless, it doesn't allow you for you to be able to utilize it to be able to pay, and the amount allocated for that, again, is just 15%, which means that in an allocation that we get usually of $550,000, we could use only $80,000 toward public services that now I'm going back and forth with HUD to say if I can even use it to pay for hotel vouchers. So we are encounter a lot of cases where victims of domestic violence have been dropped at the police station, and the police department doesn't have any funds to be able to put them in a motel. So I've been emailing back and forth with HUD saying why I can't use this one to be able to assist our police department where victims of domestic violence have been dropped off and they don't have any funds to be able to pay hotel voucher to be able to put them in a hotel until permanent housing is used. I emailed Florida Finance Corporation, and they say that no, I cannot use rapid rehousing fund to be able to pay from hotel voucher because they are set for first, last security deposit for literally homeless individuals. So,
RJ, I'm sorry. Oh, you're already finished.
yeah.
First, last security deposit, is it by law or by the program policy only those things, or is there some leeway, some options available?
Exactly. That's a great question, because the starting point is the first last security deposit, because I don't know what kind of unit a homeless individual can afford, how much it's going to be. It could be that I got a local individual that is going to be housed through Boynton Beach Faith-Based CDC, and the Boynton Beach CDC has a share housing community there where they are charging these individuals $750 a month. So the limit, the maximum award that I have on the local housing assistance plan is $10,000. How much I can stretch that? So I start you with first line security deposit, but then again, if I'm able to, you get a unit that is $1,500, I want to try to stretch this as much as I can so you are be able to have some safety net until you can be able to save some money to continue to be self-sufficient. And I think the key word here is the self-sufficiency, because giving money to homeless individuals doesn't solve the problems. That's why the county and the wraparound service is so important, because they need the case management. They need everything else that goes along after the fact that they have obtained an apartment. And here in the city, the county has a team of people working with homeless individuals. Here in the city, it's myself. So I can't do anything, and I can do everything myself. And that's just the reality. So at this point, again, I'm trying to do the best I can to be able to assist with the funds that I have. I meet with people, and I hear story, and I see some sad story that break my heart. And it's horrible. It's horrible. I want to help them. I want to do everything I can to be able to do that. I know, and I meet with single mom with very young kids crying when they meet with me. and it's horrible. They say they call the homeless resource center. They reach out to those nonprofits, and unfortunately, there is no shelter for them. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
Let's open it up for questions. I'm sure we all have a lot. Commissioner Hay, this was your item. Let's begin with you, and then we'll go around.
I guess one of the things that's, I want to make sure I understand it. You showed a chart where it was like 41 and zip code 33435. Did your study look into why that one went up and none of the others did not?
You know, homeless persons usually move to area where they think that they can receive some assistance. So faith-based CDC is located in that area. And I know Gloria, bless her heart, she does case management. They try to provide housing with the resources that they get. And also, you know, that's the area where they can feel that they can find some help.
Type of help from agencies or from families or
From
stores or entrepreneurs? What?
Well, non-profit organization. I mentioned Boynton Beach faith-based CDC. And I believe the Lord's Place isn't within the same area, same zip code. So, and they just go to wherever they think that they can find assistance.
And how much of SHIP funding can you use for this?
Well, that's exactly like I mentioned before, and I mentioned it again. CHIP only allows you to use 15% of the entire allocation to either purchase assistance or use it toward assisting homeless individual. The rest of it has to go toward what they call construction, which means house and rehabilitation. So out of an entire allocation, for instance, I can pull up my computer now and tell you the exact number of what can I can use this year, what can I use next year, and it is very little.
Are you working with the county?
Absolutely.
Dr. Green to,
That's why Dr. Green is here.
so what can the cities do more, better to eliminate, or not eliminate, because you probably never will, but help out the county and ourselves? I know we're not doing enough if the numbers are going up.
Yeah, resources. Other municipalities use, I mean, let me just give an example of this number right here, 63. So the formula grant, again, ESG grants, this other grant, is based on population. So it goes to the county through the continuum of care. We support the county by signing every year the certification of consistency with the consolidated plan, where we say we support the services that the county provide, which is about 53 different programs, to assist homeless individuals, because the money is going to them anyways. It has to be routed that way. So now what the city can get, non-federal funds. We don't get any federal funds to assist homeless individuals. Now what can the city do? That will be depend on you, the commission. And I just put it back on you. The reason being is because you have to find a way of how, I mean, it is a part of doing business, homeless individuals, and it is just part of doing business. So what kind of other resources we can add to this that we can be able to do it? And it's a discussion, it's a topic for further discussion where we can come up with a plan. The only recommendation that I have here is something that is needed. It is at the end of this slide here. It is a hot team. Other local government have the hot team with, law enforcement has this tool to be able to help out, engage homeless individual, and see if they can assist them to be able to either transport them, or be able to be a little organized, because other cities, Delray, West Palm, the county has it, and within their own jurisdiction, we don't have it. So that could be a possibility, something that we could investigate a little further to be able to see if that's something that the city wants to have. We will continue to seek for grants, but now we have the thing that we go for a competitive grant where we have other cities where they have 500 homeless persons. They have 300, they have 400, but we go with a number of 63. Oh, by the way, we have 63 homeless in our city, so therefore we want to compete with you. whose team do you gonna get the grant, the competitor grant?
RJ, we have like 39 municipalities in Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
From a percentage base, where does Boynton fall? Are we have, on a percentage base, more than other cities? Are we about in the middle or at the bottom? What, did your study go to that extent?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dr. Green just touched on that briefly, where he mentioned the city of Del Rey, Lake Worth, West Palm, Belgrade. Those are the one with highest population. We will say that, I won't speak, but I will say that Boynton Beach is
I don't know the exact ranking, but it's certainly not one of our top 5. It's not one of our top 5 cities where the concentration is the greatest based on our point in time count. But to answer your question about what cities can do, I can give you an idea of what other municipalities are doing. They're looking at any vacant land that they have, and those 17 cottage homes that we built, there's 17 homes built on 1.4 acres of land, 1 acre, 17 homes. It's going to house endless individuals. So also for
Crowded.
yeah. So also, if you have vacant properties that are dilapidated, not being used, you can work with a nonprofit. A lot of cities are giving those to, conveying them to nonprofits, and they're used to house individuals. If you have other Live Local Act gives way for cities to use commercial properties to build housing. In one city, we're working with a developer to take a hotel and to turn it into affordable housing for seniors and low-income individuals, single-room occupancies. There are a lot of things that cities can do with their zoning laws, right, and making them a little bit more tighter. Developers might not want to hear that, but even with the county, there are things that we're doing to kind of tighten up our planning and zoning department, prioritizing properties that are affordable housing, asking for more time in terms of restrictions. The last time that I looked, just in the county alone, over the next 5 years, more than 1,000 units will be losing those restrictions, those affordability restrictions for seniors in particular. And so we're expecting to see an increase of homelessness in our senior population if there's not a strategic solution to address those, because developers are going to charge market rate when they can. And we see the AMI going higher, which means that they can charge more, even with the limited market rate that they can get. And, our seniors are on a fixed income, and they can't not afford those increases. And so there are a lot of things that cities can do, and we're more than willing to work with you on some of those solutions.
Now, if no one wants to see anyone homeless, okay? But it's always that statement, but not in my backyard. Mm-hmm. Is that are you running into that, and how are you dealing with that?
Yeah, NIMBY is alive and well. As I said before, we're constantly dealing with homeowners and others not wanting those developments to be built. One of the ways that we are dealing with it is where the cottage homes are built in an area where it complements the community. And so it's actually going to bring the value up, because many of the homes are similar to the ones that we're building. Another thing that we're doing is, for every person that you have that doesn't want it in their backyard, you may have others that are okay with it. And so we work with our faith-based community to come out and to lend their voices to this conversation as well. But perhaps the most important thing that we're doing is dispelling the myth that is going to impact your property values and crime and things of that nature, because we now have examples of when we built the shelter, and we can look at property values that have increased. We can look at crime rate in that area compared to other areas. And so providing information, dispelling some of the myths that are out there around individuals who are living with homelessness. One big myth is that mental health and addiction is the primary cause of homelessness. That's just not true. Of course, that's a big factor, but housing affordability is the primary cause of homelessness. People cannot afford to live here in Palm Beach County. And certainly, mental health and addiction and those things play a big role in it. But housing affordability, research has shown over and over again that it plays the most important role in homelessness.
I'll reserve the rest of my questions for later.
Thank you. Let's go to Commissioner Turkin. If you have questions for RJ or thoughts.
No, so many. I do agree with you, Mayor. I think we should have a workshop on this because this could just go super in-depth and, I think that's something we should look into. Thanks.
No, thank you for that. Vice Mayor, then Commissioner Cruz.
Oh, Dr. Green, don't go away. No, super quick, and I just wanted to, I totally understand RJ's frustration, and can empathize in particular with the domestic violence issues that occur that are spur of the moment. They're in a situation like, at no choice of theirs. Because we are tied, what can the Community Services Division do? Or are there other resources that we need to, as a city, reach out to make sure that we have a partnership in place so that when that happens, we know where to go and that we can provide assistance? So can you just touch on that just a little bit?
So what's so important about the partnership that we currently have with the cities is it allows us to work from the same playbook again, right? And so if they're utilizing our system, then they can't go from place to place to place and get assistance and duplicate. And people would do that, and I certainly understand why. But that is one thing that you can do. But the other thing you can do is just continue to provide some resources. So RJ gave some low-hanging fruit, having an outreach team that can be there to provide those supports. He mentioned the city of Delray. The city of Delray is now working with a city that allows them 2 days a week to provide showers, to provide haircuts, food to individuals who are homeless, and then it also allows our homeless outreach team to work with them and to move them into shelters. You now have a nonprofit in Boynton Beach that owns a shower truck and is willing to provide those services. And so partnering with that nonprofit organization to do something like that in the faith-based community could be something else that you do. And then certainly where you can, I know that certain things are limited by the state. Like you can't necessarily start looking at property taxes and giving tax breaks, and that's controlled by the state. And we know that a lot of properties are increasing their rent because the property taxes and the homeowner's insurance is increasing, and they're passing that off to the tenant. But where you can, if you can really look at your zoning, your inclusionary zoning policies and figure out a way to streamline permitting and processing and all that, and then work with the county to, when those restricted, if there are 100 units and 20 of them are set aside at a more affordable rate, work with us so that we can plug individuals into those units. And that will be a continuous partnership that can help address the homelessness here in the city.
Great, yeah, no, I love the idea of the having a hot team. One of the things, RJ, that you mentioned was the resource guide. And so I was looking at it while we were having the presentation, and, it was not interesting, but it's one of the ways I think that really the city can partner with our faith-based organizations and churches. There's not one Boynton Beach location that provides food on a daily basis or even a weekly basis in the city of Boynton Beach, and I think that is something that is a low-hanging fruit. That if we can find that church or that partnership, Delray has gotten creative where they have 7 churches, and they each host a meal a day, so that one church is not carrying the burden of a daily food meal plan or whatever. So Delray has gotten creative in that way. And so I think that the benefit of having a hot team in place is that they can look at and partner. I mean, RJ, this isn't his main job, and he's doing everything he can to try and help the residents. And so I think that will we'll be able to maybe bridge that gap and work with the county and work with our faith-based organizations in the city to bring some needed services to the residents. So, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And thank you for referencing Del Rey. They are doing great work. I don't recall what the exact name is. It's some sort of collective of churches, nonprofits, the DDA, the CR, you name it, everybody was in the room. And I think there's lessons we can learn. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. So let's go to Commissioner Cruz.
I think we've had a pretty long discussion and we have a really long agenda, so I'm just gonna reserve my comments until the further workshop, except for the fact that I just do want to thank you, Dr. Green, for coming here and talking to us about this significant issue. And I also wanted to give a shout out to RJ. Thank you so much for everything you do day in and day out. I mean, you're one person and you're doing so much amazing work and you're really impacting lives in the city of Boynton Beach. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you, both of you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me say to my colleagues, we do have several presentations in tonight's agenda, and it is almost 8 p.m. I'm starting to think that something may have to give here, but we'll take it as far as we can, and we'll make that assessment when the time comes. The next item on the agenda is F. I think this is the most recent copy. Plan overview by Lyle Summit Associates, Inc. of the draft 2023-2028 strategic plan for the city of Boynton Beach. And who do we have? We have Lyle. Good evening, Lyle.
Sorry, before we begin, Mayor. Good evening.
Yes, 1 second.
Sorry, 1 second.
Go ahead.
The public comments will be as part of the public comments related to this item, as opposed to
You're saying public
separate.
comments in this item.
Will be part of the public comment section.
Okay, that's fine. It's next to it. It works out.
I know,
Yeah.
just not do it separately.
Okay, sounds good.
thank you.
Works out. All right, Lyle, please begin.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. I'm glad to be back. This has been a task started over a year ago, and it was aimed at institutionalizing a strategic planning process rather than just a document. You have a document, which was the last one we went through. I would like to review quickly the process. Second, go through the framework, and then just do a quick overview of the plan and see if there's any questions from there. The process started with interviews with you, worksheets from the department heads. I held a series of management meetings, and we had 3 workshops of which public input was included as part of those workshops. A draft document was prepared. It is not the end product. Once you adopt it, there will be an implementation phase where we'll actually identify action agenda of who's going to do what when. And so tonight is an opportunity to get further feedback, and from here I'll refine it and get you a final product. I'd like you, if you've got yours, is to page 3. Go ahead. No, I can't see it. I'm blind in an eye, so that makes things tough. The vision is looking out 15 years. What do you want the community to be? It's your preferred future. A draft vision was prepared. A plan is our map to get to that destination, and that is 5 years, of which you identified goals, which were outcome-based to get us to that vision. And within those goals, you had objectives, which are outcomes that you would like to see in 5 years, that in a follow-up can get easily translated into performance measures so you can see whether the actions are getting you to the outcomes you want. We talked about value to the residents. If you had to explain the goal, what does it mean? What's the value the residents and businesses are getting here? The challenges and opportunities, we made a long list that came from you and from the staff. You prioritized it, identifying short-term, looking at 1 year, making sure we have actions to address the challenges that you identified. And then our actions, and there were 4 categories. Policy actions were ones that were related to you. You prioritized top, high, and others. Management were primarily staff's responsibility of following through, of which some of those may need funding or come back to you for further policy directions. And then we had management in progress was implementing what things you've already done, and it's recognizing the work that done isn't done until it's really done, until it's completed. And the major projects are physical projects that are going to be completed. There were also items that were put on the horizon. Since we were last together, a number of actions have actually been taken and completed. Other ones are in progress. So the staff has been using the document. If you go in the plan, the vision you identified in our discussions, let me just go over it real quickly. At the high view, and that is in 15 years, that Boynton Beach is a safe community and beautiful community. That Boynton Beach in 15 years has vibrant destinations, Congress District, Downtown and Cultural District, and other potential districts. A livable community for all, experiences for all, residents and guests, a strong, diverse local economy. On each one of those, you identified, we had a long list, we focused, what did that mean for you? And that is what you wanted to see, your preferred future. The vehicle to get us there is the mission. So we went through and identified the mission, and in the mission statement on page 11, you can see that the mission of Boynton Beach city government is to act in a financially responsible and sound manner, to provide core municipal services, quality of life services, plan and invest in the future through a high-performing team, and engage Boynton Beach, the community. You can see that during our time together, we focused, defined what did that mean to the 5 of you and to staff. And then we put together the plan around goals, and the goals you identified in here, and we talked about a variety of things, but the outcome-based goals are a financially sound government providing exceptional service, strong local economy, a great place to live, a clean, safe, clean, and attractive community, and within that, we put together the framework. This year, we did not deal with the core beliefs or values because we just ran out of time. That could be addressed in a follow-up. Where we go from here is once the plan is adopted, we put together the action agenda for executing it. It's who does what when. We've already started a little bit on those on management in progress. Many of those have been accomplished. We also will then identify a monitoring mechanism. I brought a couple of examples tonight. If you look at, this happens to be another city, you would actually get all of these back to you on your priorities, who's gonna do what when. So it says who the department is, the key issues you expect to get addressed, the milestones, and we actually put together a policy calendar where you can look at work sessions based upon the strategic plan, and it becomes part of that ongoing process. The other thing that is really critical is, so you put it together and you go, what's happening with things? This happens to be another city in this area, Royal Palm Beach. They get this monthly of what the status is. It's on their website, so you can monitor the strategic plan in real time, what's going on, what's coming up, what's been completed, and what's been on hold. So tonight is getting further input from you so I can refine the product and come back to you. It also an opportunity for residents to give additional input. So that's my quick overview for where we are tonight. Hopefully that met your needs. So questions?
Thank you, Lyle. I don't recall exactly who initially brought this up. Was it you, Vice Mayor? It was you. Let's open the floor for questions and comments for Lyle, and so we can proceed. Commissioner Turkin.
Lyle, thanks. No, yeah, I brought this up so we could have additional public input. So I think a lot of that is going to pertain to after we all speak, allowing the public to give their input. A lot of my questions have been answered from what you just presented as far as the measurability of the strategic plan. You know, going through this, I think there is a lot of, I don't want to say fluff, but I think there's a lot of things that we've already done that we can remove. I think there's things that we can consolidate. And I bring that up because I think it's important that we have a very clear and defined vision. And if there's, you know, I like to use the comparison or analogy of like someone juggling, right? You can juggle 3 balls, best juggler in the world. You throw in another ball, it's going to get a little harder. You throw in another ball, it's going to get even harder. And what happens when you have too many, you're juggling too many? Everything drops. And so that's what I don't want to happen, is that we are looking at too much too soon and really need to narrow down, you know, what we can consolidate, what the big ticket items are. You know, for example, you know, the malls in here, the Western amphitheater, you know what I mean? These are things that are going to take time. We need to identify the sites. When are we going to do the sites? You know what I mean? Do we need to do a triple P for this? Marina, right? Double down on our commercial waterfront. You know, it sounds great if we list it, but like there needs to be an action plan. And it sounds like you're including those steps in the refined product. And so, you know, I want the community to have more input on this, especially after seeing, you know, what we have now. I've met with a lot of residents. I forgot to disclose that earlier. I have met with a lot of residents, you know, concerning this, and I think there is some fat to trim and for us to really hone in. And again, to give staff a realistic, you know, plan to follow, right? You know, it's like the corporate world, a SMART plan, right? So, you know, finding that model to where we know where we're going, we have the tools to go there, we know what the pit stops are, and we know when we'll be finished. And so I think, you know, having that measuring component, the timelines, and like you said, who's doing what, when, and where, I think is important. I love the monthly updates that you're mentioning from the other municipalities. I think that's crucial. Is that something that I guess the city will be updating?
Yeah,
or
once
working
you
with
adopt
Okay.
it, then we'd be able to do that.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, that's where I'm at as of now. You know, going through it in detail, there's some comments I have, but I want to give my colleagues, I want to hear my colleagues' opinion, and then also get some input from the public. But, you know, bird's eye, that's kind of my thought process is, you know, honing down, trimming this stuff, because some of it we've already accomplished or will be done this year. And I just want to make sure that we have a clear plan and we're not juggling too much, because then we drop everything. That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hay?
I'm good, Loud. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. Vice Mayor?
My only comment, it kind of piggybacks on Commissioner Turkin, has to do with execution and having a clear timeline. I think it's important that that's set forth in the plan, that it's part of what we approve is what is the clear execution, not just we're going to execute it or the plan to execute it is there, but what are your recommendations? I mean, this is your expertise. What has worked? What doesn't work? We need a little bit more, I think, clear recommendations as far as execution. What's the deadline? Set a deadline. When are we going to have, you know, when do the monthly updates start? What is that going to look like? Who is going to be responsible for handling those updates? And really have it clear. And that's what you're saying. I want it in this plan. I want, maybe there's a slide or a part of the plan that talks about, okay, these are going to be our steps and these are going to be our deadlines and this is who is responsible and this is how we're going to get it done. Because you know, there is so many great things in here and so many things that I think like Commissioner Turkin had said, that we've already accomplished, but I don't want them to go away because I want people to see what has been accomplished, even in just us starting this process and having these conversations. But have a clear, project checkbox also incorporated within the plan and within those monthly updates, so that we're really seeing, truly what's happening. So those are kind of my comments, but that execution thing is key for me. I think it's very important that it's clear and there's no question as to who's doing what, and when it's happening and what the expectation is. So, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Cruz?
Just following up with what was said earlier, realistic, fact-based execution. And one thing that maybe we could, plan ahead would be to provide updates maybe twice a year, maybe every 6 months, maybe right before budget and 6 months after that, or, whether it's like right before the Christmas break, just twice a year, every 6 months to really understand where we are with projects. And like a detailed presentation, like during one of the commission meetings, to provide that to the public as well as to the elected officials. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I know it can get very lengthy, but maybe we can give a summary, like overall where we're at, but any projects that are currently being worked on or are supposed to be budgeted for in the upcoming fiscal year should definitely be defined and talked about at that point.
Yeah, if you look at these, the ones that I showed you, they all have what issues are going to be addressed in the upcoming budget or the budget a year from now.
And then you said execution. So once we approve this and move forward with it, then you're going to have a separate implementation part where you're going to do the monitoring side of it. Is that right?
After I hear from the mayor, I want to suggest a action plan
Action plan, perfect.
about going next.
That's what we need. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Lyle, thank you.
Mayor, can I share what I heard?
Yes, please do.
Since it's been 7 months, I would suggest the following, and then you can go from there, is to talk with you, have a follow-up interview, because many of those actions have been done. You may have new priorities, the world changes, and do a quick update. Along with the input here, bring that back to you for final adoption. Once it gets adopted, then we go into the action outlines. And so I would suggest...
Lyle, let me ask you to pause right there for one moment. Based on what you just said, is that something that you're going to approach each of us individually, or you're requesting for a workshop? Is that something?
I think we could do it in individual.
Individually? And do you think that's likely to be back within next month?
Yes.
Or, okay, great. All right, please proceed.
But the other part of it is getting the input tonight and incorporate that into that revision.
Of course.
Then, once it gets adopted, then work with staff to identify two things. One, the action outlines for each one of your top and high priorities, not all, so there's a real focus there. Put together the policy calendar, and then also put together the tool with staff and bring that to you, the draft tool, and do that in a workshop format where you can look at it and say, these actions, are there issues being missed? Are there needs for different types of action steps where you could actually see it? So that would be my suggestion. You can take that for whatever it's worth. Okay?
All right. Thank you for your recommendation. All right. Are we finished? Any other comments from my colleagues? With that, this item is now concluded. We have heard the presentation and update. We're now moving on to public audience. And if you'd like to make a comment regarding the presentation from Lyle, you can do so at this time. After we conclude with those in person, we're going to go to those online. As always, it's 3 minutes per person. We've got 2 podium. We can go back and forth. Commissioner McCray, if you'd like to begin.
Good afternoon. Mike McCray, 806 Northwest 4th Street, Boynton Beach, Florida. I recognize that every city we have problems. I'm concerned about this city, Boynton. You all came up tonight with a strategic plan. We're always coming up with plans, strategic plans. You all should have studied the plans that we had in place before. You're standing on my shoulders. I'm just saying, you're not doing anything. I ride through District 1, District 2, 3, and 4 here in this city. Boynton is stagnant. I see no new growth, nothing, new taxes. Now, I'm going to talk about District 2, and I could talk about that because I live there. District 2, we had a shooting on Cherry Hill. I have 3 properties over there, less than a 2-block radius. I want to say to the Boynton Beach Police Department, thank you. After that happened, you all picked up patrolling. I sat out under my garage on Thursday nights. I watched them make arrests. I want to say to them, thank you. I want to address the sanitation department. There's a lot of debris around in the district, all over Boynton, that needs to be addressed. But sanitation, you all get a bad rap. And the reason I said that is because after you all pick up bulk, the residents put out bulk again. What you all need to do, since you all have code compliance, well, you all said that y'all want to enforce it, take out a thing, make them do better and everything like that. Code compliance, first of all, need to learn how to talk to citizens and stop threatening them, doing things that's not appropriate in their line of work. The citizens in District 2 are saying that you all are harassing them because you're trying to take our property. I put out pyramid stones. I had 8 people run through my yard. I pay a total of $250 a month for the upkeep of my lawn. I had to cut the tops off for them not to cite me. I was cited. I'm quite sure hell that's more in Boynton to worry about than pyramid stones and people running through my yard. Concentrate more on the debris. You all need to get the pamphlets that we had printed in both languages and go after those people that's constantly in violation of putting debris out and educate these people. That's your problem. You're not educating. And you go around and make plans and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Nothing. I want to address MLK Boulevard. I rode down through there Sunday on my way to a store. I thought I was going to tear up my car, and I'm not trying to be facetious. Any other part of this city, you all would have paved that by now. I don't want us to get all of the apple pie, but I sure as hell want to get some of the apple pie. And you all are not treating District 2 fairly.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
comments. Next person, please approach the other podium. Either one. We can go back and forth.
Hello, good evening. I want to make a declarative statement, an extremely positive statement. May 12th to May 18th is what is defined as National Police Week. This was created by our former president in 1962 named John F. Kennedy. I've been a commissioner, I come to meetings. The ones who should get the applause for the safety, the security, and hopefully the proper development of their department, the police. So let's all think of the people who keep us safe together, our families, and honor National Police Week, which is May 12th this year to May 18th. And I thank you.
Thank you. All right, next speaker. I don't care, somebody just go, please.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Harry Woodworth, Boynton Beach. Thank you very much for having the workhouse, the conversation on the plan. Lyle addressed the issues that I've communicated with all of you very effectively. I have a couple of comments, though. I didn't know there were 3 workshops. I was at 2 of them. I'm not a shy person. I came prepared to be asked questions, and there was no public input at either of those. And you could verify that by going back and watching the tapes, which I did. Okay, so if you're going to have public input, have it. We could avoid a lot of this stuff. The second thing is, Lau brought up a good point. It's been a long time since this stuff happened. It might be a good time to go back and do a little bit of an analysis on where we are now, because let's face it, all of this stuff, the 34 pages, all of that is down to 3 basic elements. Where are we? Where do we want to go? And how are we going to get there? It's that simple. All of that other stuff is just verbiage. So with those three elements in mind, let's go back to the beginning and say where we are, maybe do a SWOT analysis or something like that. What are our strengths or weaknesses or opportunities? Because it has changed quite a bit, and the economy is a huge factor that's changed. Might affect the hotels, some of the other stuff. The other thing is, at the end of the day, it was obvious the implementation was missing because the most important part of any plan, as alluded to a second ago, is the implementation. You can have all the plans in the world. This city has filing cabinets full of plans. I've been at many of the charrettes, the meetings, the workshops, and that's where it ends. If you don't have a plan to implement it, and by plan I mean something that starts with a verb, has a specific action and an end date. If it doesn't have those three things, you got nothing. Nothing. Starts with a verb, has the detail, and it has a date. Anything you're looking at that doesn't include those three things is a complete and total waste of time. And you know that. And the other thing you guys all know from going in and out of meetings all day long, if you walk out of a meeting without an agreement on who's going to do what when, you just wasted your time totally. So this is the same element. It's the same thing. Who's going to do what when? And every comment I got on this was it's too much, too confusing. And part of that is people aren't familiar with this kind of stuff. There's a lot of good information in here. You can distill it down. It doesn't have to be 4 gallons. It can be a quart. The bullets, the stuff is in there. There's gold in here. I mean, you could sift this. You could start a gold mine. There's a lot of fluff. I get it. The reaction to most of the people I circulated to was, I'm confused. The people that came to my house were like, ugh. And on a final note, my final 20 seconds is, the lowest hanging fruit in here is the beautification. Beautification has been in every single strategic plan I've seen here in 40 years. We have missed the boat, folks. This is low-hanging fruit. This is simple stuff. If we're going to get one thing right and only one thing, let's do it, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy Falco Di Corrado. I'm here tonight because I have requested a couple of FOIAs. One was on March the 25th, and one was for April 22nd, which I have yet to receive. It says in 7 to 10 days I would get my FOIA. Now, many of you were in this room when I was physically attacked by a police officer. What you don't know is what he put on his report. On that report, 2 officers fabricated the report and stated that I was at the podium, I was being disrespectful, and that's why he came and attacked me. As you know, I finished my time early. I thanked each one of you for speaking, and I sat at my seat. Now, I was physically attacked, and it was very appalling to me that you, Mayor, number one, I'm not allowed to address you, sorry, please forgive me, and somebody else on the dais kept saying, stay out of it, stay out of it, stay out of it, get her out of here, get her out of here, get her out of here. You saw a white woman being beaten up by a black man because the hostility in this room and the people that I was with even felt the hatred. It was a hate crime against me. Then there was a fabrication of a lie on an affidavit signed by 2 police officers. Created a lie. Is this the kind of police force? I know that you want to give accolades, sir, but I'm sorry. My personal experience and what happened right here in this room was appalling. I still am in therapy over my shoulder because of the hurt that he did when he twisted my arm up my back. And as for last time I was at this podium, you took away 2 minutes of me speaking. Why? I wasn't doing anything or saying anything that was not true. I was not being hostile. I was not doing anything but having freedom of speech, which is the First Amendment, which I believe each and every one of you swore an oath to protect and uphold. So I have been at the brunt of physical abuse from this leadership and from here in this room, not just once, but twice. Once physically and once personally. Really, I haven't heard an apology. I haven't heard that you are sorry for not taking a stand and protecting one of the citizens, one of the people, an American, standing here. And the lies that keep continuing. Now, I can't get any of my discovery because they will not give me my FOIA. It should have been to me by now. And they're not giving me any reasons. They're just, oh, well, oh, well. Well, a FOIA is the freedom of information that is granted to me and every other American when you ask for it. And they're supposed to give it to you within 7 and 10 days. I've yet to receive it. They're hiding information. I'm not being able to get my discovery. So something's really stinks in Denmark, and I don't know who I need to speak to get this rectified. But it needs to be rectified, and I need the evidences in my hand from the FOIAs in which I requested. I thank you, and I ask each one of you to do your due diligence and get that to me, because I've done my due diligence. I've done all that I know to do, which is within the law, and the laws to be on my side because I did nothing wrong, and they're to give me that freedom of information that I inquired. I thank you and have a great night.
All right, next speaker, please approach the podium.
Good afternoon. My name is Katie Miller, and I live at 1057 Southwest 28th Avenue in Boynton Beach. I have a problem. I need you all's help very, very bad. You know, Sunday is Mother's Day, and the cemetery is terrible. It's just awful. And I've complained before about it, and no one seemed to. I guess you all don't have any people down there, but I have 3 people down there, and I'm going there when I go. So I wish you all would try to get this cleaned up. It's awful. It's full of weeds. Stones, soda bottles are out there. It's just awful. Nobody's cleaning it up, and nobody seems to care, but I do care about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Barbara Reedy. First, let me say something about the FDOT downsizing of Boynton Beach Boulevard. I don't know how many of you have been able to read your mobility study, but downsizing Boynton Beach Boulevard runs contrary to your own mobility study. You might want to check into that a little. Along with our box of studies that Commissioner McCray mentioned is our box of awards. We won an award for our water quality, an award for how many of our citizens participated in recycling. Our Historic Preservation Program won awards. Our Art in Public Places program has won national acclaim and even worldwide acclaim. For our sustainability and green efforts have won great acclaim. Those things are part of Boynton's cultural fabric, and now some of those programs and efforts are struggling. All those studies and awards happened because the community was engaged in the planning. Communities has seen some broken promises, and getting them to buy in and take ownership does not include telling them how it's going to be. Harry's correct about citizen input for your plan. Including public input, you would have learned that the Arts Commission years ago discussed the entryway features as art, that historic preservation increases community pride and home values, that getting folks re-engaged in recycling will decrease the litter. That was 12 years ago, and already there was a branding committee that many years ago. There is a report that exists in our box of studies, half of which are on my computer at home. I'd be happy to send anybody a link. Public involvement equals a richer, more well-rounded plan and more success in its implementation and acceptance. So, I don't know, it's nice that Lloyd's going to meet you one-on-one, but a workshop would be good because there's all kinds of input out there that could make the plan even better. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next speaker.
Hello, Cameron Maharaj, District 2 resident. So, hello, my fellow Boynton Beach residents. Have you ever walked within a neighborhood and felt threatened by the safety? Not by the community that you're within, by the road infrastructure that the community is within. This is something me and my 30 neighbors are currently living with. So, from broken mailboxes and the fear of having your kids walk home from the school bus, we're having this issue where we're having the road infrastructure hasn't been fixed. I came out here last time and I addressed the commission that we're going to need help with the infrastructure building department because without the proper, let's say, funding them more, without the proper support, someone I fear is going to lose their life in my neighborhood. And if this consistently goes on without any, let's say, actual resolvement, let's put a plan together to fix this, there's going to be blood on the hands. And I've came here and I've showed you that there's problems. If anyone does a survey within my neighborhood, you can easily see, I've gone, today? There's around 4 or 5 mailboxes destroyed by rampant people that's road raging throughout our neighborhoods. And if there's no fix to this, there will be blood on the hands of the commissions. We have kids that get off right there at the Seacrest, right there at the Ezel Hester Center Park, and they have to cross that road. And they have to come into the community where there are cars that are speeding consistently without any help from my district, from, let's say, the whole, as us as a whole. What's going to happen? What's it really going to take for us to make a change in our district? And that's my question. What is it going to take to get more funding to, let's say, if anybody else is going through this, and I'm pretty sure they are, how are we going to help the Boynton Beach Public Works Department get more funding so they have more engineers to handle these situations when it comes down to it? What is the solution? This is my begging problem. I do not want to be my neighbors of filth friend walking down the street, because it's a community-like neighborhood. Everybody knows each other. We do not deserve that. We deserve to have our kids safe when it comes down to coming home from school, walking from the public bus stops and things like that. So if there is no solution to this, there will be blood on your hands. And Boyne, nothing really changes until a kid dies. So let's not let that happen to my neighborhood. I want to see a change, and it all starts right here. Thank you. I redact the rest of my time.
Thank you. Next in-person public comment speaker. Now is the time to approach the podium. And this is last call. If you would like to speak, please make it known by forming a line.
Hi, Ernest McNolly, 710 Northeast 7th Street, Boynton Beach. I'd like to make a comment that myself and a lot of others, when coming here, we don't feel safe. I don't know how many times people who come, and hundreds, thousands of people are afraid to come in here and express how in fear we are in this city. And what we find most interesting is that when you listen in these meetings, the city and the employees seem to think that you're the endangered ones, when in fact, we're the endangered ones. Wouldn't we love to have police escorts wherever we go, or where we work, have a police walk us from the library to our parking lot? We're the ones in fear. We're the ones being attacked. We're the ones, like me, driven out of a city. I'm out of here. I came from one of the most corrupt places in the world, probably, New Jersey. And I thought, well, maybe Boynton Beach is a cut above, and here I am in my 70s. And I've moved into a city that, in my opinion, is worse than where I came from. So as soon as I can, I'm selling my unit that I've come in here 1,000 times asking for help about crime in my building, about crime in the neighborhood, what everybody's talking about, dangers for the kids, and sex crimes, and drug crimes, and pollution crimes, and busing crimes, and school crimes, and city employee crimes, and police crimes, and fire, all these crimes, and yet you make it like it's all us. So the last thing I'm going to say is that I have developed one of the most amazing insider information systems in this city. And that is, I got a lot of city employees that are my inside sources. I have many Boynton Beach police that are my sources, many firemen, many elected officials, and in the county, and in the sheriff, and beyond. And then I get a call that, guess what? There's a former Boynton Beach police officer, female, who claims on the job she was raped by a male police officer. And I said, wait a minute. I said, why are you calling me? They said, Mignoli, we're calling you because you're the only one that has the strength and the ability to walk in those meetings and say something. And why? I let you all know about it, and none of you are responding.
All right, with that, in-person public comment is now closed. We're going to go to those online, and let me check who is online. I see no one online. Public comment is now closed. We're moving on to the next section of the agenda, which is administrative. We
Mayor,
have
Real quick, I just
yes,
want to.
Commissioner Turkin.
Yeah, I forgot to bring this up earlier, and there was an individual here who wanted to speak at public comment, but, the meeting went 2 hours before we got to public comment. So Andy Troxwell is a Iraqi Army combat veteran who lives in Forest Park. On April 21st, Andy was sitting at his home watching the Marlins game, which was Sunday, 2 to 3 o'clock. Andy calls me, and he said, actually, he calls me. I didn't get his call. I look at his text messages. I call him back, and he informs me that a few stray bullets had come past him, one landing 6 inches from his head, where he was watching TV outside on his patio. And, I want to thank the police department for working swiftly and apprehending one of the suspects. I believe there was quite a few in that incident. But, when I hear that there is potential gang violence and someone who served their country has to go through, that PTSD all over again, sitting in his own home on a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock watching baseball, that tells me we got a problem here. And, we're going into the budget cycle, and I think we need to really look at, not just what we can do as far as internally for more routine patrol, more police presence, but partnering with other agencies, FDLE, Sheriff's Office, developing an internal or stronger gang task force unit. Because all this stuff we talk about, the strategic plan, everything is all great and fine and dandy, and it's beautiful. But if we have residents who are reaching gunfire 6 inches from their head on a Sunday afternoon, we got a real problem. And those are the issues that we need to look at, first and foremost. We can be the best city, but if we're not safe, we will not evolve. And so I just, I wanted him to share it. He had to go, and he asked me to tell his story, and I'm gonna do that, as his representative. And so, that's something I just want to share with my colleagues, as we go into this next budget cycle, to work with the police department and of course, I think other, outside agencies, obviously, that's going to be left up to the subject matter experts. But, we need, it's nothing new. I had gunshots, people fired off rounds on the campaign trail in front of my house. You know what I mean? Like, there's potential gang violence it's not a joke. It's serious, and we need to tackle it, and we need to handle it seriously. So that's all I ask is just, consider senior residents like Andy when we're, looking at the public safety aspect of our budget. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for sharing his story. We're now moving on to 5A, Advisory Board appointments. Let me just open the list, and we'll go down the list. Advisory Board appointments. All right, the very first item here is the Art Advisory Board. We have a nomination from Vice Mayor Kelly, or at least it goes to you, and we do have one applicant. Vice Mayor, did you want to make an appointment?
Yes, I wanted to appoint Mark Cohn for that regular spot.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any objections? All right, just motion passes by acclamation. Building Boards of Adjustments and Appeals. It is mine, but there are no applicants. If anyone's interested, please keep that in mind. The Community Redevelopment Agency Advisory Board, it is my nomination. We have one applicant. It is Thomas Remicchio. I'd like to make that nomination if there is a second.
A question.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Second.
Sorry.
All right, let's do discussion. Go ahead.
Did hear one of my constituents, Phyllis, applied to the CRA Advisory Board, but I don't see her application on here.
That's a question for the city clerk. City clerk, could you address the question?
I would have to look into that. But if we do have one, then we can put it on the next agenda.
Would that be on the CRA?
No,
No,
we
it's
we
not on
make
the
the
CRA.
appointments.
We make the appointments, yeah.
There is a second position that's open, which goes to vice mayor. Okay. All right, anything else from my colleagues? We have a motion and a second. Are there any objections? All right, motion passes unanimously. Employees, Pension Plan Board of Trustees, there's no applicants there. Education Youth Advisory Board, no applicants. Historic Resources Preservation Board, quasi-judicial, no applicants there. Library Board, we have several openings. Recreation and Parks Board, several openings. Senior Advisory Board, this one goes to you, Vice Mayor, and we do have one applicant.
Yes, I would like to appoint Sandra Watson. She is a committed resident to everything city. She is in everything and very active, and so I am honored to appoint her to that board.
Excellent. Is there a second to that?
Second.
All right, multiple seconds. All right. Any objections to that? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. That concludes advisory board appointments. We're now moving on to 5B. This one is from Vice Mayor Kelly. Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, may I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Thank you. Just after, real quick, Sheila Ross, who is here, she came in, and I just wanted to give her an opportunity. She and her husband run the Sear Foundation, and I was happy to support her. She's a local PE teacher here at Citrus Cove. She's an amazing person. She volunteers all of her spare time to the youth in the community, so I wanted to give her just a quick minute to just
Absolutely.
To speak.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. If she would love to come up, I would love to have her here. Tell us about you and what you do with the program and how you help out kids.
Movement in here. Teacher, you gotta get your juices flowing.
Movement breaks.
I truly, truly appreciate.
Could you say your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Sheila Ross. Vice Mayor, I truly appreciate this opportunity. In hearing all of the negative in here, we have a lot of positive, and that's what we're missing. We have to dig deeper with the commissioners, with our students, and knowing that we can do better. Our mission is to empower youth, young adults, and adults to reach their full potentials. We have to have an open mind to receive the information from the community leaders as well as the leaders up here. So thank you. This donation will allow me to continue with our at-risk students. And he talked about homeless. We have a lot in my school, and it's a need. We have to come together as a community to do better, to bring the positive. I stand here getting ready to leave tomorrow. We have a lot of good in our community. My son is graduating from UC Berkeley with his Juris Doctorate, and that's in a public school system. So it works if we come together and unite as one. And I thank you for this opportunity to stand before you guys.
Thank you. We're now moving on to 5C. This is a Community Support Fund request from Commissioner Hay. We have a motion to approve. This is for P2P, if I remember correctly. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Is there anyone from P2P here today?
Don't think so.
All right, that's all right. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. This is a lengthy list, so let me just turn to my colleagues. Is there anything under consent would you like to pull?
Yes, I would like to pull D, as in delicious.
This.
Sammy's hungry.
Listen, it's approaching 9, so. D. Any other request items to be pulled under consent? With that, may I have a motion to approve the remainder of
So
consent
moved.
agenda. We have a
Second.
motion from Commissioner Turkin, second from Commissioner Cruz. All those in favor of approving the remainder of consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. Now we're going to address item D, proposed resolution number R24-089, approve an amendment to the Community Development Block Grant fiscal year 2022 and approve a transfer of $86,002.80 from the Park Impact Fee Fund to be expended on the 110 CDBG fund.
I'd just like, oh, go ahead.
RJ Ramirez, once again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. RJ Ramirez, Community Improvement Manager. So this item has to do with an amendment to the Community Development Block Grant. So we have some fund left over from activities from the year of fiscal year of 2022 that were no use. And I list that on the agenda. In $36,000, $606.86 came from a plan administration. Acquisition of property for affordable housing purposes for a rental, senior rental housing, $243,202.67. So this item in particular, the nonprofit that we awarded to was not able to purchase the units for senior due to HOA restriction. They purchased 2 units. There were 4 units that were in contract. One where they went to the HOA denied the sale to nonprofit developer. Unfortunately, we did an extension to that agreement, another 6-month extension. So the agreement was for at that point in time for a year and a half, and they try again for another 6 months, try to get those units purchased. And because of HOA restrictions, the purchase didn't happen, unfortunately. So this money came back to the program. I had $10,000 for a house rehabilitation program that just leftover funds from that particular activity. $20,000 that was for the planning and administration of house rehabilitation, $20,283.40. And then the limited rehabilitation program, they have $51,114 with 41 cents. So this one, once again, the nonprofit organization tried to complete the project. We gave them a 6-month extension as well for them to complete the project. Unfortunately, they were not able to complete the project. At that point in time, I had to reallocate the funds. So those two projects that were going to be completed on fiscal year 2022 were moved to fiscal year 2023. So now we have 14 projects that are being complete for the limited rehab for seniors, for elderly and or disabled. So they're moved to the fiscal year 2023, and those are already in process to be completed. So that's how we came to the $363,997 with 20 cents. So after I got a letter from the Department of Housing and Urban Development that I need to reprogram those funds within 30 days to be able to move them to somewhere else. So I met with staff, and after meeting with staff, we found a project that was already available, and that is to provide a lining improvement to the Galaxy Park. Field linings. So, and the project itself consists on, I got this couple of work here. So the lining project will consist of 6 to 8 galvanized steel poles with cross-arm and programmable LED fixture to provide class 4 specification, 50-foot candles for the infield, 30-foot candle for the outfield, 25-foot candles for the warm-up area, and 30-foot candles for the playground. So this linings system has a warranty of 25 years. And this improvement to the Galaxy Park will provide for additional programming at the park, enhance the visibility and clarity of the players and umpires, and increase the level of security and comfort for the spectators. If you have any questions.
Thank you, RJ. I really wanted the public to hear this because it does wonders for Galaxy Elementary Park, and you did an outstanding job. I just wanted to highlight this and let the public know that we're working with our schools, and one of the things that we do need to do is light it up, and this would be an opportunity to do just that. I've gotten a lot of comments about the lack of lighting out there, and I'm just happy that you, RJ, along with the other staff members, pursued this and made it happen. So thank you.
You're welcome,
Good
sir.
job with that.
Thank you.
Motion to, anybody else want to say anything?
If there's anyone else who would like to make any comment or
Motion to
question.
approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve item, let me just make sure I read this. It was letter D, Resolution R24-089. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those oppose, motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you. That concludes all of the consent agenda items. We're now moving on to consent bids and purchases over $100,000. Are there any items that my colleagues would like to pull under consent bids and purchases over $100,000? Any requests?
Motion to
Seeing none,
approve.
we have a motion to
Second.
approve and a second. This is for consent bids and purchases over 100K. All those in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. This brings us to public hearing. This is the second reading. We'll have public comment. Let me turn to our clerk to read the item into the record.
Proposed ordinance number 24-009, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending Part 2, Chapter 18, Article 4, pensions for firefighters of the City Code of Ordinances by amending Section 18-180.2 and 18-194 to create a 2.8% COLA for firefighters who complete 8 years of job participation, to be funded with a 6% employee pickup contribution during job participation, amending Section 18-180.2 to delay the 2% COLA for disability retirees under 5 years following the date that would have been the disability retiree's normal retirement date, and amending Section 18-182 to lower the service-connected disability payment from 66 2/3% to 60% for disability retirement after the effective date and providing for severability.
Thank you so much, Maylee. Let me turn to my colleagues. Would any of you like to hear from our chief and any requests?
Mayor, there was no change to the resolution, but there
Okay.
was change, a number change for the better that.
Oh, all right, so there
Mr.
is an
yeah.
update, substantial update. Please begin and tell us what that is.
Giorgio Salami, President Local 1891. I represent all 100% of the firefighters that work for the city. During our last pension meeting, we were reviewing the actuary study, which we found that the actuary had used old personnel numbers. So while updating, the savings to the city actually increased to $36,000 year one, and substantially more year after year, up from 22. So we just wanted to make sure that we amended the documents pushing forward. That way you guys had the correct documents.
All right, excellent. And the documents reflect that? Excellent. Anything from my colleagues? Okay, with that, let's proceed to public comments so we can move on. All right, thank you so much, both of you. That was quick. If anyone would like to speak on this item, now is the time to approach the podium. Seeing no one approaching the podium, let's go to those online. Let me see if who's... And there is no one online. With that, public comments on this item is now closed. May I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
I don't know who was first. Maybe Commissioner Cruz. I heard the second for sure from Vice Mayor. And let's begin with the roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hay? Aye. Commissioner Turkin?
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Mayor Penserga?
Yes.
In a roll call vote, the motion passed unanimously.
Thank you so much. We're now going to move on to the next hearing item, proposed ordinance number 24-010. Again, a second reading. City Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 24-010, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending Part 2, Chapter 14 by creating Section 14.6 of the Code of Ordinances declaring purpose and intent, authorizing placement and installation of a school zone speed detection system, providing for implementation of general law by the city manager and designation of local hearing officer, making findings regarding relevant traffic data and evidence warranting additional enforcement procedures, and designating school zone speed detection system locations, which constitute a heightened safety risk, providing for conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, Maylee. Were there any substantial changes from first reading?
There were no changes. There was only, with regard to, sorry. There were no changes. Oh, I'm sorry. Just, there was a business impact statement added to the attachments. That's the only change, but nothing to the ordinance.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments?
I do.
All right, so let's just begin Commissioner Cruz, and then we'll go around.
Yep, we had a really robust discussion last time, the first reading. And I mentioned having concerns with the procurement process and making sure that we had, if possible, an RFP process. So that's something that you and I spoke about after the meeting, and you committed that there will be an RFP process to procure this new program. So I just wanted to address that before we move forward.
That is correct. City staff will be procuring this item. Procurement has already begun working on the, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. You were hitting it, so. Yeah, we're working on the scope right now. So yes, that will be, hopefully, from the PD perspective, we should be completed by tomorrow. Where it goes from procurement, I'm sure, let's just say a week or two. I'm sure I'm putting Mara under the gun here, but I feel that's would be the appropriate timeframe.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Commissioner Turkin.
Yep, I wasn't here for that discussion, but I did review it. It was an extremely robust discussion, and I just want to thank my colleagues for putting children's safety first and foremost. And, I do think that we, as a board, have a fiduciary responsibility for our taxpayers to get the best deal possible. And so that RFP is extremely important, and we cannot do that if we don't allow market competition. And so I would like to make sure that there is an RFP. It sounds like the city attorney has already committed to that. And, looking at this, yes, its primary purpose is to, train behavior and make it, make the city safer, especially for the kids. But I want us to look at, we are going to generate some revenue from this. It was a state statute. And, I want to make sure that we look at the red light cameras too. They're not a very popular thing. We're the only city, I think, in the county, and maybe out of, I don't know how many in the state, maybe a handful. And so as we look forward to this, this is going to be, this is going to be a revenue driver looking at how do we want to approach this with the red light cameras, right? So, I just want to make that a thought for my colleagues that, if we're going to generate revenue with this, as a product from its intention, I think we need to look at the residents too, in reference to those red light cameras. And, putting this out for our RFP, maybe we do get, a better deal. I'm not sure exactly, how it's gridded and how it works. But, I do agree with Commissioner Cruz, this got to go for RFP so the city, can get the best deal possible. I know the Chief DeGiulio doesn't like that statement about the red light cameras, but, people are upset with them, and, there's other ways to generate revenue. So, thanks.
All right, thank you. I only have a quick question, and this may go to Mara. I'm not entirely sure who this will go to. But can you just describe, I guess it's not so quick. Could you describe the RFP process just for the public to understand? And the one question that's definitely in the forefront of my mind is there a cone of silence pertaining to RFPs?
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Mara Frederickson, Director of Financial Services. So the RFP process, typically we get a scope of work from the department, procurement, then goes through it, writes the RFP, it gets sent to legal approves it for language, making sure that, the contracts and things like that. It goes out on the street for 30 days. After the 30 days, it comes back, there's a selection committee. The selection committee makes a selection based on the scoring and criteria that are listed in the RFP, And then the selection committee then brings it back to commission for approval. And during that time, once it goes out on the street and before the selection committee brings it back to commission, there is a cone of silence for that.
All right, thank you. Okay, anything else from my colleagues?
Just,
Yes, Vice Mayor, go ahead.
I just had one. Chief, I don't remember seeing this in the first presentation, the speed data that was added to this. I don't remember seeing it by school zone, but it's kind of scary to look at these numbers and to know that this is what's happening in our school districts, our school zones in the city. And so I think that, this is, we have to be appreciative of the state and some of the things that they do. This is one of the good things that they've done where they've put the safety of the children first. And, I thank you for staying ahead of this. And, I know Commissioner Turkin touched on the financial benefit to it, but can you, because it's not, I don't want to make it seem like that's the reason, and those funds go to our crossing guard program that will hopefully enhance, and we'll be able to bring in more crossing guards and give them pay increases. And so do you mind just quickly touching base on, because we're also locked in on what we can charge, it's state mandated, and how that fee will play out, and what is your understanding in doing the research? What is the, and I always say this word wrong, but like the repeat offender, I hate to use the word offender, but, in these, in these tickets. I mean, it's the sole purpose of this is during school hours, when children are crossing the street, that they are as safe as they can. And so can you just touch on those two little things really quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
So as far as the benefit, like I mentioned 2 weeks ago, it is a force multiplier for the police department. We would love to have, hundreds and hundreds of police officers put it at every corner. Obviously, we know that's not feasible. This allows us to have eyes and ears at our locations and keeping our kids safe. It also brings awareness to the school zones, so it could be safe for not just the kids walking to school, but also our cyclists and our motorists as well, reducing crashes. The repeat offender percentage is actually better than the red light camera. And you remember that a lot of these programs haven't really been seen if, maybe in other states they've had a couple years. Here in Florida, it's brand new. So there's really not a lot of data out there. But all the research that I've seen, they're talking about reductions between 50 to 70% in the first year. So if you're dealing with, our projections is 225,000 violations year one, we're looking at roughly, 113 to 125 the following year. And as far as, allowing the motorists to be aware of the school enforcement cameras, we're looking for voluntary compliance. We want them to reduce the speeds, because data also shows that, when someone is hit by a car at 40 miles an hour, 9 out of 10 people don't survive. Even at 30 is 50% survival rate. The 20 miles an hour at school is based on survival rates of pedestrian crashes. 1 out of every 10 pedestrians who get hit at 20 miles an hour, one is a fatality. And in our school zones, and I put it in the packet as well, we average 1 crash per school zone per week.
Yeah, and I think Freedom Shores on Hypoluxo is the highest at, I think this year or last year was in the teens of crashes on that road in front of the school. So, in looking at this data, sorry, I did ask you another question to answer, but that's okay. The numbers look low as far as percentage, but when you're thinking of these are people that are traveling at over 11 miles over the posted speed limit in a marked lighted school zone, the numbers are kind of shocking. So I know it seems like when you're looking at the data, you see 2%, 3%, but the numbers are, you're talking about 11 miles per hour over the posted speed limit, not even the 20 mile per hour speed limit. And then, with, I think on Lawrence Road, you told me there was like almost 100 going over 70 miles an hour at some point when they did some of the traffic analysis. So these are super important. You know, most of our schools, as I talked about the last meeting, are on very high-speed roads. And anything we can do, you know, to try and, you know, to keep the issues at bay is, you know, is a win for us, I think. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from my colleagues? All right, thank you so much, Chief. We do need to open up for public comment. If you would like to speak specifically on this item, now is the time to approach the podium. Seeing no one approaching the podium and seeing no one online, public comment on this item is now closed. May I have a motion to approve item?
So move.
Second.
All right, for the record, this is proposed ordinance number 24-010. We have a motion and we have a second. City Clerk.
Commissioner Hay?
Yes.
Commissioner Turkin?
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Mayor Penserga?
Yes.
And a roll call vote, the motion passed unanimously.
All right, thank you. We're moving on to item C, proposed ordinance number 24-011. Again, second reading. City Clerk, if you could.
Proposed ordinance number 24-011, second reading, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 3, Zoning, Article 3, Zoning District and Overlay Zones, Section 8C7C, fenestration requirements of the Land Development Regulations, providing for conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
All right, thank you. We have Ms. Kim in front of us. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Kim or general comments about this item? Seeing no one from the dais, let's proceed to public comments. Thank you. Anyone would like to, did you have an update?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioner. My name is Jae-Young Kim with the Planning and Zoning. We have a little minor corrections. Actually, Northeast and Southeast 3rd Street is supposed to be included in this amendment, and it was missed out from the first reading. So for the second reading, we added the ordinances as well as presentation to include the Northeast and Northeastern and Southeast 3rd Street, which is still within the cultural overlay district.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, was there any changes to my colleagues? Any questions? Public comment, if you'd like to speak specifically on this item, proposed ordinance number 24-011, now's the time to approach the podium. Seeing no one approaching the podium and no one online, public comment is now closed. We have a motion to approve this ordinance.
So moved.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Hay. City Clerk?
Commissioner Hay?
Yes.
Commissioner Turkin?
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Mayor Penserga?
Yes.
In a roll call vote, the motion passed unanimously.
Thank you so much. We are now proceeding to new business. The first item under new business, 11A, update on the status of the 2024 road resurfacing projects by the Construction Services Division, presented by Mr. Ramsey, Interim Public Works Director.
There's a presentation. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Kevin Ramsey, Interim Public Works Director. I'm here to report on our status of our streets. All right. Okay. Let's see. So side button, this one. All right, sorry. Okay, so construction services has started and done a few projects this year.
Is your mic on?
Is it on?
Or is it just me?
Maybe it's me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're preaching
There we go.
voice.
All right. Something I know, streets. Okay, so this year, we've done quite a few areas, and we are still working on some resurfacing projects. Real quick, Boynton Lakes Boulevard, and the cost is there. Southwest 8th Street, $814,000 on that one, 421 Boynton Lakes. Boynton Beach Boulevard Extension, $818,000. Now, this is all since October of this year. Meadows Boulevard resurfacing, we had Meadows Boulevard for $633, we did that one, that's completed. Meadows Way Road, we did that one, $171. Chapel Hill, we just finished that one up, and it's actually went to 212,000. There was a change order you guys approved tonight. Cherry Hills, finished that one, I think, 2 weeks ago. It was 561. That was just a few streets in Cherry Hills. There's still more areas in Cherry Hills to do. That one needed it. All these needed it. Upcoming road projects. It's nice to do the past. It's nice to talk about the future. Gulfview Harbor, that one is out to bid. We had Monday, we had a mandatory meeting with their contractors. That will be due in 2 weeks, and construction start in mid-July. And part of the Gulfview Harbor project was a Meadows neighborhood. We have 2 neighborhoods of Meadows on there, and so same with Citrus Cove entrance road to the school. Depending on when that bid comes in and we get through your approval to do that, we will either do it right before school starts or a month after it starts to get the parents enough time to settle in, okay? So that's the thought process.
Thank you,
Kevin,
Kevin.
can I
Thank
ask-
you for considering that, because that was something that I had talked to Andrew about, is to make sure we time that. Sorry, Mayor. I didn't mean to-
No worries. It's
Make
fine.
sure we time that around the school, because it's
a great point.
crazy. So, thank you.
Thought, yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, what I was going to say just got answered. All right.
All right.
Could you, because this was an item requested by Commissioner Cruz, could you just repeat that one item about Gulfview Harbor?
On Gulfview Harbor, it's actually a bid with 3 different components, and it spreads across 2 different districts. Meadows neighborhood, there's actually 5 neighborhoods off of Meadows. Now, we did Meadows Boulevard, and then we saw where our money was, so we went ahead and we had Gulfview Harbor. We could only do so many because of some utility projects. So then we said, okay, what else can we manage? And so we did 2 neighborhoods of Meadows, and then on Citrus Cove, we added that one because Miss Kelly, I said, this really needs it, and we went out and looked, and it really did need it. So we're going to safe that one up too. So there's enough in there to do that. So we think that's going to be about 1.4 million. It may be less than that. We're hoping it's less than that because we have a few more ideas we'd love to do this year. We're not
You're
quite
saying
done
those
yet.
are already out to bid.
They're already out to bid.
So those Gulfview Harbor ones, yeah.
That's correct.
Mike?
Not on this one. No, I don't have. Is it? Well, I missed the most important part. Do you have the actual street name? Not on me. I do not. 'Cause at this point, yeah.
This 1.45 million, this is the ARPA for the Meadows and Gulfview Harbor?
Yes, sir. This is all ARPA money. The 1.45 is all ARPA, and so is our next one I'm about to show you, if it's on there.
Oh, and that's the timeline. Oh, good.
We're going to start construction on the Gulfview Harbor, mid-July. The way it's timing out with the bids and the procurement process and all of that. So we're looking at mid-July, actually, the start date on that. Lake Boynton Estates, that's our next one. I'm hearing from finance that it most likely may go out to public bid next week or the week after that, the very latest. So it's a little bit ahead of schedule from the schedule here. And so we're going to be running both Gulfview Harbor, Citrus Cove, and the Meadows along simultaneously within probably a 3-week span of each other, and it's all going to be running through the same thing. Gulfview Harbor is like 9 months. That's all 3 different places, so not all of it's going to be 9 months, but then this one's going to be about 12 months in duration. This one's really needed too, Lake Boynton Estates. There's a lot more than just resurfacing. There's swells and sidewalks, and it gets a bit intense. Same with Gulfview Harbor. There's a few sidewalks in that one as well we're doing. Projects in.
I think, again, when we had a community meeting at Gulfview Harbor, the sentiment of the residents was that they did not want sidewalks. So that's why I want to see the map, and I want to understand more in detail, what it is that we're doing. And, that's.
I'll send you, I should have had it on there, I agree. There's only one sidewalk that we're really putting in from north to south that runs across the canal by a park. That's the one we're gonna do for I couldn't tell you in definite. I've had so many maps in my head this year.
Can we do this again, maybe next meeting, and actually include the map? Because, the whole point that I requested this presentation, and I thank you so much for bringing it up, is that I wanted the people watching the meeting who are residents to understand what's going on and to know which roads are getting paved. And so if we're putting in sidewalks, have we had a meeting with those homes asking what their thoughts are? Like public opinion? Because if we have, I was not informed about it.
I don't believe it's sidewalks. I think you're putting in one sidewalk along that. We're gonna have to come back with an actual
bring in a
map so you can see the location of where the sidewalk's going. My understanding is
Have we
some,
had any communication with the residents about the sidewalks and seeing if that's something they want?
I'm not sure what the scope of the project
I
was,
think the
Kevin,
sidewalk
as
that we're
far as-
putting in is not even near, I mean, there's one road that we're doing that's to the far north.
Commissioner Cruz is referencing a meeting that I think the residents were pretty adamant they did not want sidewalks included in the project. Am I correct? And it was almost unanimous that they didn't want to see that.
If there's a sidewalk in there, we can always deduct it from the contract if that's the case.
Yeah.
If that's the worst case, then it's not a done deal as far as it goes. But-
So if it's okay with the commission, what I'd like to do is just table this item for future until we can actually get a map and some more clarity included on the information
And
that
when
we're
we're just
requesting.
a general, thought, like, if we're talking about paving roads, we should include the map of which roads are being paved, so that the residents who are watching or might want to watch a meeting in the future might want to do that. But I do thank you for working on this presentation and bringing it forward. I know it's been a lot of work to work on this and to work on the bid, so do want to put that out there.
I know while you were outside, there were several maps included, but it was the work that had already been completed. We just need to include the maps for the future sites that that are also going to be paved. So,
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, 1 second before we proceed. Commissioner Turkin, you wanted to make a comment?
Kevin, yeah, I just want to thank you for all the work you do. I know you're taking on a big role here, and you're juggling a lot. But the map thing I brought up before, it's misleading, and we might understand, and staff might understand, but if I'm a resident, I'm going to look at the screen, and right, like last time, we thought all of Chapel Hill was getting paved, and I said, no, that map's misleading. Only one road got paved. And so I think when we present this, we need to be very mindful and think things like very simply, right? Like what's the optics of this? You know what I mean? Because then it can create a lot of like, I don't want to say public distrust, but maybe some misconception. You know what I mean? And then you have people coming to the meetings concerned about something that's not even reality. And so city manager, I think I would just review that prior, so we're not tabling this item. And Kevin, you're crushing it, man. I know you're doing such a good job, and I just appreciate you're juggling, 4 different districts and mayor at large, all of us. So I appreciate you.
No, that's no problem. I appreciate the work, and to do that kind of execution is a lot of different departments
It's a lot.
involved.
It's a lot of moving parts
Finance,
and-
it's legal, it's staff and engineering, construction services staff. So everyone's done a lot of effort to put this many millions of dollars out this year. It's
Yeah.
gonna be right about 7 this year, so that's more than they thought we could do. So anyway.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cruz, would you like a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to
For
table.
the next commission meeting, which
For
is
the next-
May, what is it?
I don't have the exact date.
21st?
Well,
21st.
the only thing about May 17th is I believe Andrew there. We have like 40-something
Or can we just have someone,
Can we do it the June meeting?
why?
You wanted an update, correct?
She's saying when you wanted to bring the item back.
Why June, why not May?
Why June, why not May
Wait,
21st?
There's
Oh, no one told me
Andrew.
that.
Because of the break in June, we backloaded some of the items into the meeting in May, and then we also front-loaded some of the items in the last meeting in June. So what the city attorney's referencing is
I see.
those meetings are going to be heavy.
Long, like today.
Correct, yes.
I mean, if we have the maps and they can be quickly reviewed, it could take like 5 minutes or so.
We'll put it on.
If it's,
So, all right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of tabling this item to the next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. Listen, I was going to recommend the exact same thing for my items. It's getting late. And there were some things that would like to see happen prior to the presentation. I wanted to sit down with staff and go through it in detail. I would prefer that we table this to the next meeting. Both items, B and C. That is my,
B and C?
yeah, that's my request.
You want a motion, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, motion to table items 11 Bravo, 11 Charlie to next meeting.
Second.
We need to do them separately for legal
Okay.
purposes. So 11B?
11B, yes.
All right, motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of tabling item 11B to the next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. May I have a motion to table 11C to the next
So
meeting?
moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously. With that, this concludes tonight's agenda. Are there any comments or questions from my colleagues? I do have one final brief comment. I'd asked you guys last meeting just to see if you had intended to use the, what do we call it?
Funds,
The funds, the
yeah.
education conference funds. Not the conference funds,
Not
the
the conference,
education, the
yeah.
education component. I just wanted to make sure I run that by you. It's just a matter of courtesy. Did you guys have any intention of using it? If so, I'll make sure that we don't consume it.
Was this from last meeting? Can someone brief me on this?
Okay. Oh, okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much. All right. I guess that
comment.
solves that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't here. But
It's
if it's
okay.
all good, then I
It's
don't
all
need to hear it.
good.
Let's-
I just wanted people to look into their schedules, that's all.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner, hey, it sounded like you were about to say something.
No, I just wanted to give, you should be receiving a formal invitation, but we are installing our new pastor at St. John, and St. John is an integral part of this community, and I want good representation on Sunday, the 19th of this month, is it? What is this, May? Yeah.
May.
Yeah, on the 19th of this month, May, at 4 p.m. at St. John, there will be an installation of our new pastor. And I would like for each and every one of you who can and will come to that, say a few words, and then if you want to.
Could you have the Dina send an invite to each of us so we can have it on our calendar?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's my anniversary. I can't make any promises. And I think you know. I think you understand that.
Yes.
I can't commit to anything.
All right, Commissioner Turkin, closing
one-
comments.
Yeah, one thing, I think it was in consent agenda that I should have pulled, but this was something that you spearheaded, Mayor, was the pressure washing throughout the city. That has been long overdue, and I just want to thank you for bringing that up. And that's one of the low-hanging fruit we talk about, and, you know, I'm excited to see that done. So thank you for spearheading that, Mayor.
Oh, thank you. Oh, no
Part of
need.
a bigger picture,
No-
but you
no
gotta
need.
start
Just-
somewhere.
Let's just get it done. Let's clean it first. Then we can applaud afterwards. Okay. Okay, anybody else closing comments? If not, motion to adjourn, someone?
move.
All right.
Second,
Second,
third,
all right, this
fourth.
meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, everyone, and thank you.
Okay.